All right, welcome to the Beginner Boost, week 17, and behold my messy room. I wanted to show you the Go mascots, so there they are. They make me very happy. I'm gonna go ahead and plug it. I'm actually doing another series of streams called Home Lab Init, Linux Home Lab Init, and I'll go through all of this. So somebody was asking me the other day, well, what happens if the boost is done? Can I get a job? And I'm like, well, you probably need to set up a home lab and do a little bit more. So there. So if you want to watch that, installation of etcd and Kubernetes and organizing, a whole bunch of old hardware that I inherited from other jobs and stuff, I'm just gonna put a plugin for that. So there's another playlist. It's called Home Lab Init, Linux Home Lab Init. I actually have updated. You can also take a look at I just barely updated the boost page. So let me show you the changes for that. So I just have to do a little bit of admin stuff right now. You can skip past this if you want. But if you go to github.com/RWXROB/boost, there's been a number of issues, and this has been out of date for a long time. So I went through and I updated it somewhat. You can click on 2022 Boost. I put the weeks here so they're a little bit easier to get through. And I mean, goals are the same. I put calendar links instead of it was linking to the Saturday calendar. And I noticed some people in chat said that in Discord that they were confused, and I think this is why, because it was still said Saturday. I changed what can I do to get ready. I added Linux is fine if you already know it. We do have a lot of veterans here, so they don't need to worry if they already know how to do Linux. But I just want to make sure people do Windows and Mac. And by the way, you should learn how to do everything from the boost on a Windows machine or a Mac, even if you have Linux on your desktop, because you may not be working for some place that will allow that. The rest of the stuff is just updated links. I reworded what changed here. The most important one is I do everything with you instead of telling you what to do. Ladder on containers, just cleaned it up a little bit. I put these links here, so is there going to be anything else? And the answer is no. It was yes before. It's now no. We are on week 17. We're well over 40 hours, and we're probably going to go close to the end of November with this boost. It's probably going to go pretty damn close to Christmas. And then the next thing we'll probably do the Christmas sea time stuff. But there's the links to the Home Lab Init playlist. There's something new too. Despite the opposition of certain people to adding me to the list of Twitch InfoSec hackers, I was denied entry because I quote, am not a hacker and do not stream hacking content. And that's where we'll leave that right there. If you want to, there's a video about that if you want to go watch it. I thought it was kind of funny. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it. I just think it's funny. I've professionally and unprofessionally hacked for years, decades. Anyway, so because this is just kind of an announcement as well. I finished Tier 0. There's a 5-hour video that just got posted to the Hack the Box playlist, which you can go watch. So this is finished Tier 0. I bought VIP Plus for this, so there's not a lot of waiting around in terms of like tech and stuff. We'll get on to Tier 1, and I'm going to make regular. I can't promise you what the days are going to be, but there'll be probably 5, 6, 7, 8 hours of content with me just doing Hack the Box, right? I personally would prefer to actually be hacking people, but I want to help people on the stream, so I'm going to be doing this. I also want to mention too that the Home Lab Init that I'm making, one of the primary purposes of the Home Lab Init is to automate pen test scanning for bug bounties. And I am kind of on the fence about how much of that I want to show you. Some of it might actually get me in trouble with terms of service because I would be showing you how to hack. But more importantly, I think I'd be showing you how to scan and stuff like that. So if this is just, I just want to do a little introductory news and announcements update in the boost today, because there's been a lot of changes this week. For those of you who don't know, we missed 2 days last week because I was just so tired. I'm filling in for people that are leaving and trying to get up to speed on etcd in particular. And but the Questions, Conversation, and Advice is a daily 6:30 to 7:30 talk show. Matt and others come on in the Discord with us, and we talk about things. This is where you need to come if you have questions. If you're doing the boost, like any question, any technical question, any non-technical questions, when you come in. And then of course there's the calendar, which we just saw. This shows where we're at. So this shows where they're on time. So here we go. The other stuff will show up on here, but it is not going to be. I'm not going to make it a regular thing. So if some night I feel like hacking, you'll see it pop up on the calendar. So you might want to add that calendar to your own. If you have Google Calendars, you can sub to it, and you can always do !Cal bang Cal on Twitch to see those listings. All right, so let's jump into this week's boost. We are still doing Go programming, and again, I'm going to be kind of writing stuff as we go at the same time. I've always done that. That helps me keep my content fresh, even if it's kind of messy while we're doing it. But another thing too is it actually plays really well into the idea of taking notes and writing while you're doing things. So let's say you're a hacker and you're doing discovery, right? By the way, the Hack the Box. One last plug. There is a RWXROB HTTP repo now, which I spent a lot of meticulous time documenting. I documented every single level so that you can just go through it. I use some different techniques for doing this. I've noticed that most of the other people on the Hack the Box list of approved InfoSec Twitch streamers don't have this. They have kind of dreary walkthrough notes. I am a big fan of taking great notes, so you can always go back if you want to do that. That's kind of a cheat sheet with a little bit more explanation than you would get, because there is no explanation on Hack the Box. All right, so I'm going to put that out there. Why am I talking about Hack the Box and Home Lab and stuff like that? Because we're at least halfway through the beginner boost, right? We're now doing Go programming, and we're going to do some web stuff and some Git, a little bit of Docker, and then how to get a job and keep a job, and then we're done. We're done with the boost. So we're about, midpoint through the boost. So it's about time for me to start telling you about other things that you can do to get excited about, and some of the stuff you can do at the same time as the boost. So there's nothing stopping you from doing Hack the Box levels today. And you'll find that a lot of the stuff that you learned in the boost up to now, because we've done all this stuff up to Go programming, is going to come into play. Like we didn't do anything about how to set up a VPN or anything like that, but your knowledge of the command line and SSH and SSHing into a cloud server, all of those things allow you to do Hack the Box and understand how to get started. So the reason I'm telling you about some of these other things is just to make you aware of them, of course, but also because it's time. It's time for you to start looking beyond. Like, don't just, be heads down on the boost. Start to look for other things to do, other things that you enjoy. Whether, you want to fork off into web development, and you can watch other streamers that are doing that kind of thing, or you want to go into cybersecurity or any of these things. It's time to start thinking about what comes next, okay? The job section. We talk about a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about in the job section in the QCA sessions, because one of the most common questions we get is, how do we get and keep a job and deal with management about training and all those things. The QCAs for the last 2 weeks have almost, I would say 50% of them are about job related stuff. What do I do if the job market's going downhill? By the way, those things we've had some very diligent. I got to show this one last thing. I know I'm just having so much fun because we've had a lot of good success with this. But I just saw that we have a very diligent community member who has added chapter headings and time markers to all of our QCA playlists. So if you have a question in there, you can go to that, because we just talked about jobs and you said that's what you wanted.
I'm Rob.
Okay, don't listen to him. So anyway, if you go back to some of these QCAs, so here you'll see that there are, I don't know which one is where, but some of these actually have like links, and you can go right to it, and you can get the answers. And I just mentioned because you said something about wanting to get more job advice. We talk about that pretty regularly. I would say job-related questions are probably about 50% of the questions that we get on QCA. And I always answer them again every time, because I don't want to force people to go back and watch all the stuff, and maybe something's changed. All right, let's get on with the show. So we are on week 17. I moved it into weeks. If you've been following the Git repo, I put it into the weeks directory. PDFs. Yeah, PDF drive. That's pretty good. Yeah, there's a couple of good things out there too. Thank you for posting those resources. Yes, please be sure to post those in the Discord as well. Wherever you feel appropriate for that kind of thing, so that it gets saved permanently. So we're on week 17, which I already made a README for. I'm going to reinitialize my tmux at this location so that all of my new sessions, all of my new windows will be in that spot. So I'm in there now. I'm going to do tmux. You'll remember my tmux command is just the regular old tmux, right? So just run tmux from here. We already covered tmux a couple weeks back. We're not going to cover that again. And stuff. I have to kill that one because it's not indented a little bit. So, all right. So here we go. And another thing I decided to do is that we will be doing the challenges. So we're going to be doing hello, hi, and as many of the challenges as we can get. We're probably going to get into color in the terminal today. So it'll be fun. And what I wanted to say is about that. There was something I wanted to say about that. So I've decided to not put the so let me just get there. So if you go to RWXROB challenges, this is the stuff that we're working through. Okay, so let me see if I can get that to you. So it's RWX challenges, HTTPX. Hey, how are you? GitHub.com RWXROB/challenges. Okay, so this is how we're going to do this. We already started doing this last week, but I'm just going to reiterate it because it's only the second time we've been doing it. So the challenges are, let's just go read it. The challenges are here to give us something fun to do and remember while we learn the boring stuff of Go. And these, I've been using these for years to teach Python all the way back to 2013. We give it a lot of description last week, but I just wanted you to see that. So these are language agnostic. There's no solutions here. So the reason I thought of this is because the solutions are going to be in the boost week directories, right? So every week, I'll put the work that we did in that week. And so you can go into the GitHub and you can click on week 17 and you can see the hello and the greet and the hi programs in there. And we'll leave them at that state. If we don't finish one, which it should never be the case because these are all designed to be finished within an hour or two. That's the point of them. They're mini projects that can be repeated to help you remember things. For each of these challenges should be doable within about an hour. Okay, and then again, once the idea of these challenges is that it gives you something fun to do, to kind of think through and remember that's related to one or more, hopefully specific topics, as few as we can get. And these came out of the requirement to do all of this in under 45 minutes before. I used to have to teach a SKILSTAK class, and I had to complete the whole thing, within like an hour. And if I noticed that if it went past that they would go for a week without working on it, they'd come back and wouldn't remember anything. So the idea of these things is that you can repeat them, and you can like delete it and then repeat it and then delete it and repeat it. And you can do them in any language. There's really no limit. In fact, for extra credit, I'll just say it right now. You might want to go, some of you might want to actually do these in Bash. Should we do it at the same time? No, we're not going to do that. Every time I try to do 2 or 3 languages at the same time, which I call polyglot programming, we used to do that. We tried that. We did one class. Where we did Python, JavaScript, and Go at the same time, and we would never finish. We would always have to put each little project would push out past a week or past an hour. So if you want to do that, go for it, right? But we're not going to, particularly if you want to do it in C. Like C is really challenging because randomization is not as easy as you would think if you don't use a randomization library, if you just use the C language by itself. But I'm just going to put that out there. So we do have some veterans here who have been hanging out with us while we do the rest of this stuff. And if you want to try this in Rust, here's your opportunity to see what Rust looks like. In fact, I want to do that. I want to do that. I may actually come back to all these challenges and make a separate Rob Learns Rust playlist, which I'm sure you all would laugh your ass off at me on. Y'all know I've got kind of a controversial opinion of Rust, mostly that it's irrelevant, and learn Go first, and then learn Rust to do fun things on the side until Rust becomes more relevant, which we're still waiting for. Anyway, so if you want to do that, I mean, I'm just saying, I am with you. I want to. This is one way to test out how hard a language is. Personally, I prefer to do Haskell or Erlang, which might come next. Okay. Anyway, I'm spreading myself too thin as it is. I have a lot of stuff to clean up. So Go and Rust is a solid roadmap. I think it is too, but particularly because it introduces pointers in a nicer way. I think Go, C, and Rust, Go to C, and then Rust is a perfect roadmap because you learn Go, you learn about garbage collection pointers a little bit. You go into C and you're like, oh my God, memory is a problem. You learn all of the problems in C. You see what I mean? Lol. And then you go to Rust. I don't think you can fully appreciate Rust until you have learned at least some C, because then all the arguments for Rust, are based on it's better than C mostly. And so, if you've learned a minimal amount of C, which we do on Christmas, every Christmas we do head for C. So we're going to do that. And then go into Rust if you want it. I think that's a great path, actually. And I mean, who knows? Maybe I will. I don't know. Maybe in 2023 is the year that Rob does all the challenges in Rust as a separate playlist just for fun. So, because I'm tired of people coming at me saying that I'm a Rust hater and I don't know what I'm talking about and throwing me under the bus. Rust people tend to get really, really upset when you don't like their language. They're kind of dogmatic about it. Anyway, so, but we're coding Go today. So all of that was just to tell you that you can do multiple languages. And I'm going to put my thing up here so I know that I'm on the right page. By the way, how do you do that? Quick thing. How do you change the title of your TMUX stuff? Right? So it's the leader, in my case, Control A. And then in my case, I have set up comma to do that. Different tools for different purposes. Python would be another good language for you to do right now. If you want to do like two languages at the same time. Yeah. Crowds with Zig and Haskell too. Sebastian. Yeah. Yeah, Zig. Yeah. An exoskeleton. That's the best way. That's the best way to say it of all. I love it. That's fantastic. Okay. So we did some announcements announcing let's see. I'll put this like this. It's like time to start. Let's see, halfway through the boost. Time to start looking around, and I mean that. I mean, so and then we have other RWX ROB TV playlists, Hack the Box, Linux Home Lab Init. And QCA. Okay. All right. So let's get back. Something that we missed last week that I really want to cover before we start doing our challenges, right? And we talked about challenge yourself to do multiple languages. And then we, that's RWXROB/challenges. Yeah. You know where that is? Okay. We're going to do the overview of the learning landscape. I get this question all the time. My leader's mapped to Control A, and we did a whole 5-hour video on TMUX and why I did my setup on that. I think what week was that, my friends? What was it? Was that week 15? That's week 15 or 14. Yep, week 15 has all of the justification for all of the changes and it goes through it very extensively. TPM? No. What's TPM? We just did screen and terminal. I don't know what TPM is. At least I don't know the one that you're mentioning. All right, so week 17. Whoops. Plugin manager? No, I don't. I hate that. I'll never use it. No, we didn't. I use scripts. I hate Tmux. I hate it. I hate it. I despise it. Tmux is fat enough. I just write shell scripts. My Pomo is a shell script. So Pomo, speaking of Pomo, we should probably start one. Z Pomo start. There. See up here? See that? That's just a shell script. So I'm not a fan of plugins. I do everything in scripts. I script the entire thing. So if you watch that, you'll get it. That we're kind of beating a dead horse there. All right. Anyway, so what's up with these? You know, I've been really aware of how bad the sayings are in English lately because I have international. It's like, how do you explain some of these sayings that I've been saying my whole life, like beat a dead horse? That's such a horrible thing to say. It's like, it's time to cancel that. I swear. Okay. We're learning Go right now. And it's hard to learn Go because there's a lot of stuff out there about Go. So let's spend, and I'm looking at my clock here. Let's spend from 51 to 40. Let's spend 10 minutes, no more, talking about all the places you can go to learn Go. And if you know a resource, this is a community effort here. So I want you to pretend we're one-on-one. Oh, thank you. I want you to pretend that we're one-on-one here. Okay. But at the same time, I want those of you who are more experienced, breaking life, I want you to go ahead, hack the box. You go read about it. You'll find out. I got to look away from the chat for a while because it's distracting me. I'm sorry, everybody. So it's hard to learn Go because there's so many places to go learn it. And everybody has their favorite opinion on it. And there's lots of different things to learn and blah, 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 blah. And I've told you about the challenge, which is how we're going to learn it. But I think it's really important that we go through the specific learning landscape for Go. And the places that you would want to go and all of that for that. Okay. And I'm going to give you my opinion on it, including some of the books I've reviewed. And I'm going to try to keep it under 10 minutes. So let's do this in under 10 minutes. This Learn Go. So one of the first links, I'll put these links in here. In fact, all of these links are kind of in here already. My RWXROB.gg lang/go. For now, this will probably move later, but this is my definitive place to go for all the places that I know that I've linked about those things. All right, so I talked about this last week, but I'm going to talk about it again. Just go here and look. Whoops. There's downsides to doing this live, but that's just what we got. So if you click on that link, you'll see. I'm just going to cut to the chase and TLDR this. Hey, so I wrote this a long time ago. This is my old website, really old website back when I was using GitLab, and stuff. Oops, that's disabled. I got to fix that. The best way to learn a thing, in my opinion, is to go to the source. So learning Go, you can use the language challenges. This is linking to the old ones. Don't worry about that. So read the specification. Do the tour of Go if you want, even though it's broken and it's really hard. Or do how to write Go. You should definitely read this, number 3, and definitely read number 4, no matter what. Right? And then there's a bunch of, this starting a Golang project right is really outdated. So we're, with Boost videos are more updated than that. And then I just started listing every single thing that I could find here. Right? And I can tell you that not a single thing is up to date. The Go code review comments is really, really good. We talked about this last week, and I just remembering that we talked a lot about that last week. We're not going to talk about it again, but I don't want to spend too much time on this. So I think we spent enough time on this. Of the books that are on Go, there is one that I recently purchased, and I can't remember the name of it now. I think it's called Learning Go. And I think no. Yeah, it's Learning Go. No, the Kernighan book is horrible. It's absolutely horrible. I had somebody throw it at me. It was so bad. We talked about that last week. I cannot recommend it. In fact, I cannot recommend against it more. Not only is it out of date, like really out of date, but it's completely useless information. So this one, the Learning Go, the John Bodner one, I think this is the one that I started reading last week. Rapidly for learning how to write idiomatic Go. Set up an environment. So yeah, okay. This book, yeah, this is the one. So this is a relatively new book. This one is am I on the right one? Matt, is it the same one? Are we in the same one? Yeah. So the thing about this book, though, like most Go resources, that they assume you know how to code already. Most of the Go resources, most of the resources out there, including TourGo, assume you know how to code in C. So, I don't like that. This Learning Go book is really good. I think it's essential reading. It answers questions that are higher in, though, so they expect you to already know how to code in Go. So this is a book I would recommend after you've learned the real minimal stuff that we're going to be doing, right? And maybe we'll revisit this book and even show you some of it. I mean, it does things like knowing when to use an interface, knowing whether you should pass in interfaces or return structures, when to use a structure or an interface, and that kind of thing. And it answers a bunch of these questions about idiomatic Go. Why is it that way? Why do people do it that way? Many of those things, by the way, are discussed in Essential Go and the Go coding comments that are listed under that on the other page. I'll go ahead and I'll promise you that I will redistill the most important resources. But let's go ahead and link to this one. I mean, it's the only reason I link to it is because it's actually good. And it's not modern though. And there's another book that somebody's been working on to do Go programming that I can't remember who they were. They were at a meetup, and then we were going to collaborate on that. And I can't remember which one it was. The Go in Action is horrible. Go in Action is absolutely horrible. It's full of legitimate bugs. So if you read that, we have to go through that very carefully. Some of the patterns in it are very, very deprecated. It doesn't cover anything with context. I just no. In fact, I'm going to say it again. Okay. The number one danger when it comes to learning with Go is I'm just going to put it, beware of any resource that does not cover Go 1.18. The fact I paid $50. I am so mad about this. I paid $50 for a book that I can't even remember now that covers Go generics based on a spec from a year and a half ago that said that it supported Go 1.18. And I was reading through it, and I wanted to rip the pages out and stuff them down the author's throat, because this guy, and by the way, it was Packt Publishing. In fact, I got to make sure you know this one because it is so bad. It is so bad. This is typical from Packt Publishing, by the way. So Packt Publishing makes shit. They make shit. I know, because they tried to get me to write for them, and I was like, you don't have any editors. The company's horrible. Anything from Packt Publishing is going to automatically be a big no. I'm telling you, I have never seen a good book from Packt Publishing. Learn Go with ebooks, Learning Go programming. Is this the one? I don't remember if this is the one. No, this is a different one. That's just a pamphlet. Hands-on software engineering with Go. Oh, mastering Go. Yeah. Oh, this is the one. Yeah, this is the one. Oh my God, this just makes me so angry. It makes me so mastering Go, right? Well, let's cover it. Dude, this is so wrong. It's so wrong. You can't read the whole thing for free. No, you can read part of it for free. I'm not going to give you my billing details. No, this book is. Why is it $12.99 now? Oh, I know why. I bought this book for $50. I bought this book for $50 online, and now it's gone down to $0 because it's really, really, really bad. I only said one swear word. It's so bad. Just don't buy it. And by the way, here, let me just ask you a question, okay? So if you find a Go resource, come to the Discord and ask us to review it. Me and the other people that are done Go, and then go to the Go Nuts mailing list and talk to them about the resources, right? and then we can like figure out what things to go read and what not to read and what's wrong with them. A lot of these things, like the Stanford one, I call it the Stanford one because Stanford was supposedly I pre-ordered 20 of them, the one from Kernighan, and then I was reading, I was like, oh my god, and it's like really out of date. And there's possible plans to Donovan and Kerrigan about it. And there's possible plans. Actually, we talked about that on the GoNuts mailing list. They were like, hey, we're going to make a new one and we're going to update it. I'm like, yes, please. And I was like, yeah, this is a really bad resource. It's very hard to understand. And they were actually working up the will to actually update it. So anyway, mastering Go. From Packt. Okay, so all right, back to I've ranted enough. I told myself I was going to cut myself off at 40 minutes on the clock there, and I am. I'm done ranting about resources. I've told you the resources that I think are the best. I think going to the documentation and to the blog site is the best. I think there's this one. Let's see, Learning Go. We'll put it. We'll say learning Go from O'Reilly is good, but it's not for beginners. All right. And I guess we can indent these. Yeah. Learning Go from O'Reilly is good, but not for beginners. It is good though. And I think you should start by, RTFM. I really do. I think you should RTFM and then go to go.dev. The learning.dev is nice, except for it puts stuff on the front page that's not very good. Then there's exorcism. We talked about that. I mean, we should probably do the exorcism stuff together. The exorcism stuff is supposed to be the official stuff. And I covered all this last week, so I'm kind of feeling bad for covering it again. Exorcism. What is it? .io? Or is it .gg? I can't remember. It's not .com. .org. All right, so this is the one. We talked about this one. Exorcism.org is pretty good. But I got to tell you, that's the official place. That's exorcism.org for Go, is the official resource for Go Developers Network. That's run by one of the guys who wrote Go in Action, Bill Kennedy. They actually reached out to me to do the Charlotte thing, but I stopped running the meetup. So I don't have time. Anyway, so give that one a look, and we're done. Boom. Okay, 39-ish minutes left on the clock. Incorporating your CLI. It does have documentation in the CLI, a lot of it actually. Yes. What did Cypher say? What is... found that book on Z Library. Yeah, I'm not going to delete any messages. If you want to, look, if I'm going to say it again, if you find learning resources that are free and that in your country or that in your economic state you decide are okay for you to acquire through ways other than paying $50 for it like we do in America, I'm not going to judge you. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm also telling you not to do it. I pay for everything because I'm in America. I'm working for a corporation. But if you are in the Philippines or someplace like that where you're making pennies on the dollar compared to an American and you feel it justified to get some resources in ways that are alternatives so that you can, live, I'm not going to judge you for that. That's up to you to make that decision. But, be aware that you're making, please be as, law-abiding, ethical as you can. And some of these people do need your support, but you make your own choices. I'm not going to judge anybody here, but I'm also not going to, I'd prefer we not list illegal resources on the stream because, there are some out there, but, we probably shouldn't be linking to them from here. That's going to get me taken down in America because the Americans are going to freak out about that. So that's all I have to say about that. All right, let's actually get to the coding. So at 37, let's see how fast we can do. Let's do hello over again to help the authors of the book. Paying a publisher doesn't help the author of the book. It's one of the biggest fallacies out there. We won't. We're not going to go there. That's like an off the. We got to stay focused here. All right. So, so we're at the end of the challenges. Let's do our work here for today. So it depends on the book. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and start with the first challenge. Now, I'm going to be doing two things at once here. I'm going to be writing about the challenge. I've cataloged the challenges here. This is, some of these are new, and some of these are things that I've taken from stuff that I've been doing forever. And I do plan to list out the requirements a little bit more verbosely, but for right now, we're just going to work through it. I'm going to try to write that thing out as we go. So let's do the first one. So the first one, and I'm just going to tell you what it is, and you can just go do it. We did it last week already, and then we can go from there. So all right. So last week, we talked about how to set up a Go project and everything like that. Before we get into these challenges, though, however, I want to teach you something new. So last week, when we did hello, what did we do? Let's see if we can redo what we did last week. So I'm going to do it, but I want you to test yourself right now. Okay? I want you to test yourself right now. So right now, make a program in Go that prints hello world. And how fast does it take you? And if I had my SKILSTAK group, or one or two of them together, I would say, ready, go. And I'd start my timer, and I'd see how long it takes you to do it, just for fun. But this should take you a few minutes, a minute tops to write this, because we did it already last week. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do it now. And if you don't want to watch, if you want to pause the video or anything, you can go try it, and then you can check yourself, okay? And then do it again and do it again until you got it mastered. So let's do that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a file. Now, there's two ways to do this. I'm just going to jump right into VI and do it, though. I'm going to call it hello. Actually, no, let's do this. Let's do hello and schmucks hello. You guys remember schmucks is just an alias. And then we're going to write into hello. We're going to write package main, right? Func main. We covered this last time. Oh, I forgot to name it .go. It's also not a schmucks. What am I doing? There's no schmucks. I am an idiot. I feel so silly. This isn't bash. This is Go, Rob. What the hell? Oh, I forgot my language there for a second. See, that's why I had to practice. Oh, that's much better. That's much better, right? So, and println, hello world. And you're like, well, why is he using println? And we're going to talk about that. I know, I need to wake up. Go run hello.go. Boom. All right, I did it. Yay, me. All right, so what are the other two ways to print in Go? So put these in your notes. Remember, you're supposed to have your code book open, right? You should have a code book open. You should put these in your notes, right? So, in fact, we're going to do that. And the first thing so that's it. We did that last week. The only other thing I want to show you here is there are three ways to print. You can do fmt.println. They will not tell you this in any book anywhere. They only do the one. They only do the fmt one because reasons. But I think you should learn three ways to print all at the same time. Log.println. We don't really need the ln on the end of it. All right. So these are the three main ways to print. And let's do it. Let's go do run. As you can see, these two went like that. And then there's this one. Okay. So just for fun, let's redirect standard error. You remember way back when we covered all the different output pipelines, we covered standard error and we covered, standard out, which are the two main ones. You can even do more, but we'll stick with those two. Okay. Let's see what happens. Okay. So let's do go run. And then we're going to redirect. This is going way back, but we're going to redirect to, which is what? What's to, everybody? What's to? Is 2 standard error or standard out? No one's going to answer me. So we'll say out. We'll say 2 is error, right? And then we'll have 1, redirect that to out. Now, we don't need to put, we don't need to put 1 actually there to do this, but we can, right? So let's run that. Well, what happened? It didn't print anything to the output. Did anybody remember, a quick quiz, if I still want to see the output, how could I have done that? What command would allow me to see the output and redirect it at the same time? This is a fun little side quiz for you. Okay, so if we do that, now we can cat error. Saying the out. Nice, good for you. Cat out. T, you got it. You got it. Okay, so cat, me too. Yes. All right, so what I'm trying to show you here, and this is why I think you should learn all 3 prints, even though nobody teaches it this way. Nobody teaches this. But from a practical perspective, and I'm a practical programmer, pragmatic programmer, this stuff matters, right? So what are we looking at here? We see that hello world, we got a hello world here, and we got this log hello world. So what have we learned? Well, if we look at our program, we've learned that this, unofficially supported this unofficially supported print statement, which is a keyword. This is not a part of a package, which is very unusual. This goes way back when, by the way. Prints to standard error. And this one here, of course, prints to standard output. And the log prints to what? The log prints to standard error. So we had this stuff going to standard. Okay, I want you to rack your brain right now before we keep going and before we leave Hello World, because this is really important going forward. According to many surveys, I'm always seeing a survey on Twitch or on Twitter that comes across that says, "What is your number one method of debugging?" What's the number one way that people debug things in programming? I'll give you a hint. It's on the screen. Print statements. Above everything else, no matter how fancy stepping through complicated code is, or check marks and benchmarks and IDEs and all this stuff, the number one, console.log, and that's print in JavaScript. The number one way to debug something is print statements, whether they go to a log or they go to standard output. Now, based on that, I have another question for you. Okay, and I'm gonna take some notes here while I answer this. I'm gonna let you all answer. Why would you want to know how to print something to either standard error or standard output? What advantage, when you're involved with a large programming project, would you have knowing all 3 of these print statements? What can you imagine is a reason that you might want to be able to control? One last thing I want to tell you is that when you do the log version, you can actually set you can change the log, so that it writes a different prefix and that it writes to a different specific file. Okay, so let's repeat. This one here, actually, let's modify our program. Let me modify the program really fast, but I want you to think about where I'm going with this, right? So, define keywords in error messages. Yes. Okay, so this one is this one goes to std error every single time. Whatever os.std_error is. Actually, we should do os.std_error. I'm pretty sure that's it. This one goes to os.studout. And this one goes to os.studerror by default. Right? And I'm going to make sure I got those right. Go doc os. I think I got them right, but I don't remember. Oopsie. Stud in, std. I know that's weird to look for, huh? Var stud in os. I don't think, maybe it isn't os.stutter. I can't remember which one. Is there path error? What? Am I getting it wrong? Oh, Daves, how are you? Thank you for the sub. I'm missing something, my friends. I have to go look it up. I'm going to look it up for you, but I don't remember things, so I'm just gonna look it up. Yep. I want to say that it's in the OS package, though. I swear. I swear it is. I swear it's, and you can set it actually. Hey, guy. Open log.fatal. I mean, I use this all the time in my tests because I redirect stuff all the time. That's why I'm trying to find it. It might be IO actually, or it might be sys. It's OS. I know it's OS. OS, that's there. I don't see it. Sure, Eric stood in. OS that's stood in. See, this is a variable that you can change. But is it os.error? Yes, they did. That's pretty awesome. You should be in there. You're sort of a hacker too. I'm trying to, where's the error one? Oh, God, okay. I put way too much time into that one. I could have just searched it. Golang redirect stud error. And it's okay. We're in the middle of a boost session, so this is going to be saved on YouTube, just so you know. I should probably put my recording sign on. Redirect error, Stack Overflow, of course. No, God, no, that's a horrible idea. That is not it. Maybe you can't redirect center. Maybe you have to do log, and that's what I've been doing this whole time. Yeah, these are horrible. OS that stood out. I know how to do stood out. I didn't think it was dupe. Yep. No, there's the stood out stuff. I guess there's not a stud error. I guess I've been using stud out all this time, and I thought there was an equivalent in stud error. I guess not. Huh. I learned something. But I know you can do it with the log. Yeah, you can change where log is going to for sure. That I know. Yeah. So yeah. Let's give it a direct error. No, there's because okay. So yeah, I do this in my tests all the time. I'll assign a different file handle to stud out in os.stud out, and then I'll everything goes to that from that point on. But it looks like there's no equivalent for stud error. I guess you have to use dupe for that. I thought I'd see. Look, there. See os.stud error. There is definitely an os.stud error. Where is it? Why isn't it listed here? Did they deprecate it? Replacing OS should be a redirect panic. There is no os.std error, and they're referring to it in a bug here. This is interesting. I have to try this right now. Yeah, I have to try this right now just because it's driving me crazy. So stud error equals. Did you find it? Was it there the whole time and I just didn't know? How come it's not in my... What version is this? 1.19. I was just looking through the docs. I guess it is there. I guess maybe I'm not going crazy. I guess I'm not going crazy. Tell me, do you not see it? Here, wait. Okay. Go doc os grep stud error. It's not in the docs. It is not in the docs. Oh, I have 1.18. Oh, did they add it at 1.19? I wonder if they added. Does it say added at 1.19? I bet it does. I bet it does. And that's why I was all excited for no reason. Well, see, this is why we do this. Line 68. It should be variables actually. Under the variables. Yeah, there they are. They're all there. Stud in, stud out. Stud in, stud out, stud error. Boom. Then why was mine... Here, wait. This has got me curious. So bear with me. Oh, I didn't do dash A. I wonder if I have to do dash A. Yeah. No. Package OS provides blah. And then usually this will have a variable section at the top. It has the constants. I'm using the actual docs that come with it. It's like the man page for Go, right? I don't want to have to go to the internet. I can go to the internet, but I have to read through crappy Stack Exchange answers. So we see the constants up at the top, okay? And usually those are all constants still. Wait. No, those are constants. Okay. Variables. Here we go. Vars. Oh, there they are. All right. They're there. Whew. I feel so much better. I'm not going crazy. We just wasted like 5 minutes to prove that I'm not going crazy. I know. So now, okay, by the way, let's take a moment on this. We'll make a whole thing of it. So dev stud out, dev stud out, dev stud air. You want to see something cool? Yeah. You want to see something really cool? Yeah. So you can send anything to, this is, if I'm showing you how to own people on Bandit. Okay. Do you guys know about Bandit? Do you guys know about Hack the Box? No. What is it? Try Hack Me? No, the other one. Gosh dang it. What's it called? Over the Wire Bandit. Over the Wire Bandit. Thank you. And Over the Wire Bandit, if you want to own everybody else, you want to freak them out, go look up the dev stud out for that user, for their TTY, and you can just cat or echo files and content to their stud out, and I mean to their stud in or to their stud out, and you can like freak them out. In fact, if you have permission while a program is running, if it's reading from standard input, you can write to that device and that standard input will go to the program. So from a hacker perspective, it's very intriguing to understand those devices because that's all they are. All right. Okay. So there, I mean, a little bonus there. We're running short on time though, but hopefully this has been useful. So cat error once again, is standard error, and cat out is that, and then we have our cat hello.go, which tells you where everything goes. Yes, we did. We're gonna do Over the Wire again. Yeah, we're doing Hack the Box these days because it's kind of more significant. But anyway, so no one's answered my question though. So why do you care? Thank you for the follow. Why do you care? Why do you care that println goes? By the way, what are the all alternatives to println? And we're going to cover them all right now, but we'll just do println for now. We'll do printf next. But let's talk about where it's going. I really want to plug this point. I'm going to ask the question again. Why would you ever want your output to go someplace different than standard out? Why? Why do you care as a developer? Yeah. No, we're not going to do that. We talked about that. So why corrupts your tar pipes? Yes, that's one great reason. Give another security purposes. Yes. Okay. So has any developer out there ever run into a program that accidentally went into production? Thank you for the follow. That printed something to standard out that was error information that ended up showing up in the middle of a report or something. Okay, so let me give you a use case for this. All right, you've been asked to write a utility that generates a report. Okay, it's not good. If you are doing discovery and reconnaissance or any of this stuff as a hacker, you learn to hate programmers who don't know the difference. Hate is a strong word, but you know what I'm saying. Because why? Because all you want is the output. You want the formatted output from the thing, and instead you get all of this crap. You get all of this extra debugging panic crap that's being generated that interweaves itself with whatever actual output you wanted. And now you have to go in there and delete it out and stuff. There's no way to filter it out. And then you just want to find that developer and wring their neck because they don't know the difference. And now you do. Okay. Filter the other program. Center has machine readable stuff. Center can have human readable. Absolutely day loop. What day loop said times 1,000. So I know this is just a little hello world, but I'm gonna instill hopefully a value here in you. I'm gonna encourage you anyway to always make a distinction about your output. If your output is usage information, error information, or anything that's not related to what the program is actually doing, always log it. You can try println if you want to, but log is better. Why? Because log lets you define that all your applications, every single application that uses log instead of FMT, can now be redirected to a centralized log. So let's say you write a program as this beautiful library, right? You write this beautiful library and you've got like 10 other people who have written also beautiful libraries, and you're all have agreed to log all of your error messages to log.println or whatever. And now by managing the log package, you can redirect that entire log of information and stuff to a centralized log without any worry. And you're not going to lose any data. And so any data that's actually being generated that the user's using is going to stud out. And that could be, this, by the way, it doesn't necessarily, we're going to learn about, web stuff, and web stuff is not going to stud out or stud error. But it does go to a pipe, essentially, in that the TCP pipe, which goes out to the web browser and things like that. So obviously you wouldn't want to be putting error messages there, right? And if you do, you probably want to encapsulate them in JSON and make them some fancy, fail error. So, make it so they can digest that error. The point I'm trying to make is that printing matters. And you think this is just a hello world program, but it's more than that. It's a discussion about the streams for the content. And I know I'm harping on it, but and you can leave the logs in the code. You absolutely can. Okay, so what you can do is a lot of times Maloob is reminded me of a very important thing here. A lot of times you'll see natural places in your code where you kind of want visibility into what's happening as a programmer. As a guy or person who's writing the program, you want to get in there and see what's going on, right? But you also don't want to make the logs super verbose. Whether or not you choose to take the hit for if statements on your logging, that's up to you. But guess what? If you use the log.println thing, you don't have to do any of that. You know why? Because you can set the verbosity of the log by just turning off the log package completely. Some people want more granularity on that. They want to have different levels of logging and stuff, and there's fancy packages to do that. But you, as a beginner, you can just know that if you use log for all of your natural stuff, you can leave your debugging code in there that helps you see what your code is doing. And you don't have to care. If you don't want to see it, let's say if you don't want to see it, just redirect stat error out to another file. And then you can actually run your program. And if something doesn't go right with your program, you can go read your little log that you just redirected. And you can go say, oh, okay. And you can still have both of them going out to the terminal if you want. If you really want to get fancy, you can change where the log writes to, period, right? Automatically. And then you can just go look at that. But it's probably better for you to just redirect it. And then in the production code, when you launch the production code, what do? You let them decide on the log thing, or you set a variable at the top of the program that decides what the log is going to be. And then you let them say, we don't want this log to go anywhere, right? And then you let them overwrite it. And you can do all kinds of things to allow people to see it. And now you've got really verbose, amazing logging and visibility built into your application. And in an age where observability is the single greatest challenge to cloud native development, because you don't know what's going on. There's so many containers here and there and all over the place in Kubernetes, and they're talking everything, and you can't tell what's going on. And if you don't have logs and observability, you're screwed. So I'm going to stop now. But do you use anything to collect the logs? Jaeger, Elk Fund? Yeah, we use Elk, but there's lots of different methods. But it's way past the scope of this conversation. But the only thing you need to take away from this rant is that know the difference between standard in and standard out. Make a conscientious decision to use one or the other, right? And only use those two, by the way. We are going to remove one of these options from here. I used to use this. I used to use println, and you'll see some people use it out there, but now you know about it, but don't use it, right? Occasionally I'll use it really quickly, but these days you should really just be using log or FMT. But not official. So this actually is not this println thing has been left in for years, even though it's officially not a part of Go. And everybody says when you read about it, they say that is not official. It could go away at any time. Don't you dare use it. But it's never left anywhere. So just know that about it, okay? If you use it, you might get. But now you know that it exists. Okay. So we could say println hello world, hello log world. How about that? And now let's run that one. So we do go run hello.go. Hello. I mean, that's a lot for hello world, but you know what? That's the reason that I spent all that time on that is because we are covering printing. That is what hello world above everything else is. It's about printing to the output in the terminal. And I don't get another chance to rant about that. So that's the best place to do that. And then hopefully that'll put a good habit into your practices. Okay. So we have 11 minutes left. Let's jump into the next challenge. So, but before we do, let's remove error and out. And let's see. You can do it with one line of bash. Of course you can, or Python or anything. And we talked about this before. Python, Bash, Ruby, a lot of other interpreted languages. We talked about this last week. The reason those languages get away with that is because they have what's called an implicit main function or routine or whatever you want to call it. And so when you write in Bash, when you write echo hello world, there's an implicit main. Python, you can actually divide your program into two and say if package equals main, which is the default __ main. Python programmers will recognize this. The same is true for, I think, Ruby and for other programs. So any strictly typed language is never going to do that. Because any stricter language is going to force you to define main. Java, C, and thanks for the follow. Those kind of languages, they're going to force you to do that, and it's good. It's good because that's explicit. The whole point of writing it in this language versus these really fast languages, Perl, Python, Ruby, all of that, JavaScript even, is because we want we don't want implicit. We want, which is kind of funny because explicit is always better than implicit. That's part of the the mantra for Python. You guys know about that, right? You guys know about that Easter egg in Python? Do I need to tell you about that right now? All right, fine. Yeah, Xenocode. It's in there. It's like Python 3 import. There it is. So if you start at Python 3 and you run import this, you'll get the Zen of Python, which is really ironic because if you read a lot of modern Python, you'll realize right away that it does not follow half of this. So explicit is better than implicit. Python itself is an implicit language because it's an interpreted language that says strictly typed. So by definition, a strictly typed language is explicit and more than Python, therefore is better than Python. So the Zen of Python literally says Go is better than Python. And that line right there, it says Go, it says Rust is better than Python. Because explicit is always better than implicit. And if you don't believe me, Guido van Rossum said it himself. Guido van Rossum said it himself. Those are his very words. I learned a painful lesson that for small programming typing is great. Dynamic is great. For large programs, you have to have a more disciplined approach, and it helps the language if it gives you that discipline, like Go, rather than telling you, well, you can do whatever you want. Those are his exact words before he turned Python 3 into TypeScript, basically. So by the Zen of Python, Go is a better language than Python. I rest my case. Okay, we're having fun here. Please don't be mad. We're just joking, okay? So, but I mean, that is worth putting in the notes. According to Zen, import this. Go is better than Python. So now there you go. Now you got something to go fight with. Go is selectively implicit. It definitely is. Interface is a good one. Yeah. Yeah, you're talking about untype. You're talking about that's the any type, Dave. So nobody uses that anymore. I can't wait to talk about that. All right. So next thing. So here we talked about ranting about when to use FMT and log. So there. So at least it's in there. You can put a timestamp on that. All right. So now, okay. So the first thing we need to do, we cleaned up our mess here, and we're already starting to get a problem here. I mean, yesterday we did high with the variables, and we're going to do it again. But I was watching the video, and I was like, we actually need to do this right. So while it's possible to do go run hello.go, you're really never going to do that. So let's make each one of these challenge projects into their own miniature project, right? And this is also consistent with the best way to start a Go project, which is another video that I did out there. And strictly speaking, we probably should make, if you're going to do a Go project, the first thing you're going to do is make a Git repo. And then inside of that Git repo, you're going to put the code, and the code's either going to be a package or it's going to be a command. Sometimes it's a mixture of the two, and there's a way to organize that. So what I want to introduce to you right now is how to organize your Go project, your smallish Go projects. Okay, so we're going to talk about this right now. And this is not something that anybody teaches you in any book anywhere. It's really sad, actually. Some of the essentials of Go goes into this, and you can look it up, and there's some overly verbose ways of explaining it. So I'm just going to cut to the chase here. Now, let's pretend, I know this is for the sake of this exercise, because we don't want to make a new Git repo for every one of these tiny little projects, right? So for the sake of this exercise, we're going to take advantage of the fact that Go allows you to put multiple modules into a different, into the same Git repo. Okay. In practice, I'm just going to say it again. In practice, I'm hesitant, because in practice, you would never do this, right? In practice, you would never do this. In practice, you would have, one module, or usually one module, maybe others, but there's a difference between the term module and package. Let's talk about this. Anybody know the difference? And normally this is not beginner stuff. If we were doing Python, we wouldn't be talking about packaging until the 8th lesson. But in Go, you kind of need to do it from the start. This is between Go module and package. Anybody want to give that a shot? Okay, so the short answer is correct me if I'm wrong, but as I understand it, a module is generally associated with a single Git repo. And a package, and a package, you can have a module that has multiple packages, and each package gets its own subdirectory. Okay, so the reason I'm going into this is because what I'm about to do is not as only for the sake of having the notes here in this place. All right. And it might actually get it's a little bit problematic. I don't know if I want to actually make a Git repo for each one of these. I could do that. Should we do that? Should we do that? I don't know if we want to do that or not. Probably not. I'm trying to decide whether we want to do, yeah. I'm trying to decide, what, we're not, for the sake, yeah. All right. Because what it's going to, here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's pretend for a second. I mean, pretend, okay. Pretend like week 17, and pretend like this is the top level of the thing, okay? It's not, but let's pretend like it was, right? And that will help you, and that will let us have all of our notes in one place without it having to be all strewn all creation, okay? And I'll show you some ways to get around that. So the first thing you start with is a directory. So we're going to start with a directory called hello. Okay. And then we're going to put our hello.go program in hello. Okay. And we're going to go into the hello directory. And this is where I might lose you. I'm a little nervous. But as you see, so as far as we're concerned, hello.go is a package. Now that we have different directories for everything, we can do something else that I do as a convention. I always name my package, my file, and we'll get into files and all that stuff later and how that works. We're not going to talk about it right now. But I always name my file main.go. So the file that has my main, this is just my convention. I've seen other people do it. The file that is in the main package and has the main, the main function in it, I also call main.go, right? Now, spoiler alert, you can actually have multiple files in here, and it's as if all of those files had been written in the same file. They'll have to have package main. If I wanted to do, foo.go, I could say package main, and I could make a function called foo, and I could print foo, right? And then from over here, I could actually call it. I could say, and I don't need to import it or anything, which is somewhat similar to other languages. You could say I want to call foo, right? So we're going to call foo. In fact, it doesn't even need to be exported. We could just have it be. We haven't talked about that yet, but okay. So now, all right. So that's all well and good. Now, if I do go run now, this is why we're doing this. Go run starts to fall on its face. And this is why we're not using go run anymore. Okay. I wanted to use go run on the first day just to get you up and running, literally. But as you can see, it's immediately going to fall on its face because anytime you need something else, go run fails. Go run only works on files that don't have any dependencies on anything else. And we're going to very quickly run into that limitation. So by doing it this way, we can do go build, right? Oopsie. And this is where it gets kind of interesting because it's not a module, right? So yeah, as soon as you make it into a directory, you have to make it into a module. So let's do this. Let's do go init. So this is how you do this. How to create a Go module. Okay, so that's what we're doing right now. So we're going to do go init, right? And then you have to give it the name. And this is where things get really weird, right? Because you got to put the path to it. And go run dot. Will that work? I don't think it's going to work. I still think it's a module. Yeah, that's cool though. I did not know about that. So let me put that in the list. Yeah, let's put covered. Yeah, thank you for the reminder on that one. I would never use it, but yeah, that makes sense. So, run a module. Yeah, I still need to go about it, unfortunately. All right, so this is where stuff, and I'm sure somebody here is going to have an opinion on this, and I really want to hear it. Okay, so gomod init requires the full package, full URL, right? Now, there's ways to get around this, and this is where Go work in 1.18 gets so nice. But for the beginners out there, this is going to throw you for a loop a little bit, I'm afraid. All right, so we got this out of here, right? We got this here. So we have to do go mod init, and normally you would put the Git repo, right? Well, look at the Git repo here. So let's do go mod init, and I'm going to go for it. GitHub.com. I'm just going to see if it works. RWXROB boost weeks 17 hello, right? And then you do go mod tidy, and that will get you all of your stuff. That'll create another folder in here. Go run Yeah, if you were going to do by the module. So now we should be able to do a go run dot, and that'll run everything. And you'll see it run foo2. You can also do go run and then that big long ass, I swore, sorry. You could do this thing. Whoopsie. Right? And you can paste that and run that, and I'll also run it. All right? And by the way, that we haven't published anything there, and I think we're going to be fine. I think we're actually going to be fine to have multiple top-level Git modules in the same Git repo. So I think what I've just discovered, and I did research on this. Let's get the final concurrent. Let's get the actual definitive answer. Can I have multiple modules, Golang modules, in the same Git repo? It's generally not done, but if you want to make a bash function that does it, that's great. You can do that. And this is where people start to use make, but don't abuse make. If everything in your make file is a phony rule, you're a bad person. Just use a shell script and save the world from the pain and suffering. It's extremely bad to write make files like that. It's a personal pet peeve of mine. Multiple modules with same project. In 2022, the best practice approach is having multiple modules with the same repo, importing with other modules. This is supported by the new module workspace. Yes, releasing 1.18. Oh, so they did add support for it. Oh my gosh, wonderful. So 1.18 actually added support for multiple modules in the same repo, which makes sense because mono repos, right? Mono repos. People, this is a popular thing. I don't particularly like it, but there are a lot of people that are creating these massive like Git repos with all of the source code for the entire application with like hundreds of modules in them. And so as long as you do the go mod init in the right directory, we should be fine. That's good news for us. And that also explains why my lab is working in another place. I have another personal lab. Oh, thank you for the sub. So that's good. Bash functions. Functions are nice, but you can't use them as filter in Get and Go and stuff. We talked about that in the boost. There's a whole day dedicated to bash and bash functions and when to watch out for them. All right, so that is some good news. See, I'm glad this is how the SKILSTAK thing works. I learned something. We learned something together. We go exploring. I am not the authority. I just happen to have done it maybe before you a little bit, and you can let me know something. That has always been the model for SKILSTAK, and it makes some people uncomfortable. But that was a really good example of that dynamic. So I just want to point that out. That makes me very happy because that means we can actually have, we're going to have these big, long, things in our go.mod, but who cares? Replace. Yes, don't get ahead of ourselves. No, do not use replace. Absolutely do not use replace. Disregard that statement in 1.18. You almost always want to use go work for that instead of replace, because replace will lock you in to that other one at that replacement. And if you don't believe me, go look at the compose project with a K. Yeah. Where is the logo now? All right. So, okay. So here, let's take stock of where we are, and then we'll take a break because we're past our Pomo timer. And okay. So what we have now is we have this go.mod file that was created for us with go init. And we put that big, long URL in there. And even though this code hasn't been committed yet to GitHub, it'll still look it up. And that's going to get us back into go work later. And it puts the number here. You can put 19 or you can take it down. You should not really use anything less than 1.18, especially if you're just starting out. If you're just starting out, you should really learn 1.18 first. It'll save you a lot of headache and time later. And then you can go back and say, oh, I didn't know they didn't have that way before. Kind of like the whole Python 3.2 thing. So anyway, and then here's our main program. Here's our main program now. We have all that stuff in there, and we added a function call. So in addition to having main here, we have another function call, and that function lives in foo.go. So as you can see, sometimes you want maybe, but if you have a function, what this is trying to illustrate to you is you can have any number of files in here, and it's exactly the same thing as if all the files were in one file. And that freedom is really, really great because you can go after the fact, you can decide that this or that doesn't belong in there, and you want to pull that out, and then you want to go put that in there, and then you want to go pull out some other thing, and then put that in there and all that. So yeah, so they're both good. And there's lots of ways to code, and so I'm not going to tell you what to do right now. We're just learning the basics. And that's it. And so just a reminder, so this is an RTFM boost week 17. You can do that kind of thing if you want. We did go mod init in here to get it. And now we can still do go run with go run dot instead. So that says, yeah, go look for the main function in all of these files and let's run it. Thanks for the reminder on that. And the next thing that I want to show you is how you can actually build it. Because now that you have an actual module, right? You can save yourself a lot of time by doing go install. And especially if you don't care about these things taking over from other things. And let me show you what I mean. So if you do go env, you'll see in here, let's grep it out. You'll grep, if we can grep out, there's a thing called GOBIN. All right. So this is an environment variable. We already talked about this when we went through the bash environment, but I'm going to remind you about it. And we're not going to go deeply into all the differences from the environment variables. It's way too much to cover right now, but this is important. Okay, so if you set GOBIN, if you don't do this by default, it'll make a Go directory in your home directory, which is really ugly. I don't like it. So you can do this. You can add GOBIN to your path and a .local bin, right? And that's just where I put all my binaries, whether they're C or Go or Rust or whatever. The compiled binaries go in my local bin. Sometimes regular executable scripts will go in there as well. And let's see, Go path. Oh, so I have, this is from before. You don't need that. And then there's one other variable that I recommend you put in here. This GOPRIVATE environment variable. So what this does is it says, I don't need to go out to the internet and get this thing. You know, I don't want to use the module thing. It's kind of a legacy thing, but you should put that there. I would also put cgo enabled equals 0, which turns off possible C compilation. And that's all we're going to talk about that for right now. I mean, the other ones I'm dying to talk about, but that's all we're going to talk about. So, let me add that to our README, which I think we got rid of. Oh, wait. Yeah, let's do the README here. So we want to set, I can't put them in here because it's going to, this stuff is not going to go into YouTube very well. So don't forget to set, and we'll say go, what is it? Go bin. You don't need to set go path. I mean, you can do go path, but you don't really need to. Go private. And Go private, as I said, just tells Go not to go out to the caching servers and grab it from there. It says, I got this. Okay. It either says, I got this, or go directly to GitHub and get it, because you want the last one instead of the ones that are going to get cached. So just trust me for now, and we'll talk about what the difference is when you don't do it. Yeah, always go on YouTube. Yeah. There's already a list of that. Yeah. Somebody show them the boost link. So, okay, so then we have here, we have go private, go bin, and then cgo, and was it enabled? Enabled equals 0. I think, because what cgo is go, if you use stuff that requires C, so there's a lot of, stuff in sys and thing that will automatically pull C in and cause your Go program to be dependent on being on a system that has C in order to compile it. And so you lose your cross-platform ability to compile your projects. And as a general rule, it's bad practice to compile with cgo on. When you have cgo on, you want to do it specifically because you need to wrap a C library or something like that. And so by adding cgo enable equals 0, that's going to stop you from getting burned by that later. You may read something on Stack Exchange where it tells you to use sysexec or something, sys, and when you should have done, one of the other commands that's cross-platform, and you didn't notice that, and you got burned by it. Now you have to go fix it, right? So if you turn that off, then it won't even compile if you've done anything and it has a dependency on it. So I think these are really, really good for beginners. The GOBIN is going to get us, say GOBIN, and I think you should do this one personally. Now you got to have that directory. I don't think it makes it if you don't have it, so make sure you make it. But once you have that, then you can do stuff like this. So now you can do go install, and you don't have to type anything else. And you're like, oh my gosh, where did it go? There's no binary here. We didn't have to do go build -o. We didn't have to do anything. By the way, if you do go build here, what is it going to do? It makes a hello program because it knows, it grabs the name from the title. And you can do that too. So let's say you're not confident, overriding your local bin, master for your world, and you just want to do it locally and test it out locally. So you can do go build here. You can do, just go build, and it'll just make you one right here that you can run like this, right? But if you do go install, it goes one step further and it copies the file into your GOBIN directory for you. And so then you can just type hello. One of the reasons I like this is because it runs it in a way that I'm going to be using on my system. So if I've done something stupid by not producing like long paths to files and things like that, I catch it. I catch it right away just from running it, right? And we're talking about rapid utilities application development. We're not talking, and then we'll learn how to test and everything eventually, but we're not. We're just, if you just want to run a thing really fast and make sure that it's doing what you want, I think it's nice. And then I've got a script here called GOI, which probably should be an alias to tell you the truth. So let's go look at that. And all that does is see if there is a file there. Let's see, if there's not a file, then file equals that file. Otherwise, the file equals dot, and then go install the file. So this is just doing a go install. And you can actually pass it other parameters. That's what this is. We did this in Bash several weeks ago. We went through all the differences of Bash. You should know this. In fact, take a moment if you've been following the boost to pat yourself on the back right now and say, I know what this is doing. This is why we did Bash first, because now when you can see already, you know what the difference between a dollar at sign is and a $. We covered that. So now you can use Bash as a part of your development environment in ways that you want to, and you can make your own little scripts for all kinds of things. So and you don't need an IDE. You can do that. That's why we did Bash before this. All right. So next, yeah. Okay. So anyway, so the thing of it is, so now when I do GOI, I can just do hello, and you'll see me doing that all the time. And there's another one called GOT, which just runs a test case. There's no test files there, and we're 15 minutes over the POMO. So that is enough to get us going. Now, we are going to take a 5-10 minute break. You're welcome to ask questions. YouTube, I am going to I'm going to pause the YouTube for, let's say, 8 minutes. So term down, let's say 8 minutes, and stick that to lolcat. And okay, so we have about 8 minutes. Go do what you need to do. YouTube, I'm going to turn you off. We'll see you back in a minute. 8 minutes, actually. Unpause. Okay, so we're back to YouTube here. We got our coffee. We had some fun conversation and stuff. There, I think the last thing we were talking about was YAML there. I used to teach JSON and YAML before we did any of this other programming, and just so you know, that's going to happen during the Go stuff, but we're not going to cover it until we start to do stuff that uses it. And I promise we're going to get to it. So we are going to cover JSON and YAML in Go, and we'll talk about what it is and stuff. But once upon a time, I would teach that separately from programming completely. But they go really good with Go. Oh my God. So what are we doing? That's what you want to know. We did that it took us like an hour to do Hello World. Because that's how I roll. So OS, here we were about to change it and everything. Week 17, hello. And okay, so here we have our program. We're running our hello program, and it works. And we covered modules. We covered how to make them. We just found out in 1.18 that modules are supported. Multiple modules are supported in a single Git repo, so long as you have a git init at the beginning of it, which we covered that too. So let's move on to the next challenge. The next challenge is very simple. This will go quickly, but it's hi. It's like make a program that says hi to a specific person with a default. And it doesn't get into details about how to pick that specific person, but it does say with a default. So I'll fill in the gaps for you here. The way we want to do this is we want it so that when we say hi, it just says hi there, right? But if we see something else, we want it to say hi to that person. So before we move on to hi, I want to add some testing. Now, there's a lot of people there's like people out there right now that are yelling because I did not do testing from the beginning, but you know, we're okay. So let me show you how to do test-driven development and Go. Now, test-driven development or TDD, these are really, really hot topics in the programming in the tech world, and people fight like crazy over this stuff. And I'm not going to get involved with that, but I am going to tell you that some of this stuff is just easier to get to testing right away. So the first way to do testing is to use Go's built-in example-based test. And I'll tell you right now that what I'm about to tell you about example-based tests is not known by 70% of the Go programmers out there who write test cases. They use the other form, which is far more complicated, of testing, and they don't even know about example-based tests. And if you want to read all about testing, I want to show you where you can go to read about that. So Go example, I'm going to call it example-based tests. Tests cases. Okay. Now, rather than confuse you, we're just going to teach you the easy one first, and then we're going to go, I'll refer to the more complicated one, and there will be a case here where we'll have to use the more complicated one. But I'm telling you, most of the time you can get out with example-based testing. You're like, well, why? Why would I do that? Right? So let's do it. So we need to test case here. I can run hello and see it work, right? And I could write a bash script if I wanted to that checked that, or some external test library or something. But wouldn't it be cool if there was a way to just compare the output of a function to, what's actually running here? Wouldn't that be awesome? It really would be awesome, wouldn't it? So let's actually do that. And it's a little bit harder to test the main stuff because, it's main. But let's try it. So we're going to say, first of all, we need to make a file that has _test at the end of it, right? So we're going to say main _test.go, and I usually have one file per each file that's being tested. Let's do... I'm just realizing we're going to get into importing and exporting, and I don't want to do that. But I think we can do it. Let's just test the function in foo for now, and we'll try the go one later, and then we'll do hi. We're going to need it because we're going to have different arguments to it. Okay, so, and this is probably why you want to do example-based test, right? Because it's kind of hard to test main because, how do we do that, right? Well, let's do the foo one first. Foo test.go. So it has to be package main, and later we're going to put _test, and I'll talk about why we're going to do that, but not right now. So right now we're just going to do func example foo, right? And that's it. And then we need to make an output line, and then we just need to put foo here. And so each line of this is a comment, and Go uses something called reflection to look at the tests themselves and decide what should be run. So then we can do this. We can say FM, so we can just say foo, right? Now I can run the test. Am I in the right place? Hello. So go test. And it says it got capital foo and it wanted lowercase foo. So I have to change my test. So I make that a capital. I deleted it. There's a way to folder, right? You know about that, right? The tilde. All right, so now I run my test again, and it passes. Now, wouldn't it be great if I could have it running my tests all the time, every time the file changes? We covered that last week. Last week we already covered that. So let's go look at it again. So let's go back to week 16 and let's be reminded of the ENTR line to do this. All right. So where is it? There we go. I'm going to use my handy dandy Tmux to thing to cut and paste this out, and all the way to there. Enter. We'll go back. Actually, we'll just execute this from the command line. And so this, okay, but we probably want to do something better. It says go run, right? Well, we don't want that anymore. We probably want, I mean, let's do go run dot instead. Remember go run dot? Let's do go run dot this time. And do we want it when hello.go changes? No, we want it, this time we want it when anything changes. So this is a little bit tricky, but the way you do this is like this, and you put it in here, and then we're going to do find everything in this directory, and we're going to send that. And so that means if any of those files in this directory changes, we're going to run it. We're going to run it. And I know you probably want to see that again. Let me go grab that for you and put that in the covered information. So this is a modified ENTR line, and we're going to go in here and cover this one, and I'll put this in here. I mean, this is going to be hard because, I mean, you know what I wonder? I don't know. I mean, last time I pasted these fancy things like this, it doesn't like angle brackets, and so you can't even do them. I'm going to say using ENTR to run tests. All right, so let's actually, because we can't put that in there, let's put it inside of, I mean, that's a lot to remember, right? So, you know, it is pretty generic, isn't it? Maybe we could make a script for it, right? So I'm going to go into my scripts directory, and I've got a command for this called newx, and my command newx makes a new script, puts it into my directory, and then opens it for editing. It's because I'm making little scripts all the time. So let's make one. Let's say newx, and let's call it, what should we call it? Go ENTR. I mean, I don't know. We can call it whatever you want. So now I've got this new script, and I can just cut and paste. I can paste the stuff that I just did, and it says enter bash dash c clear. It could probably doesn't have to be bin. This could probably be bin sh, and we can actually make this an exec because it's just a single executable, and that's gonna run, and that will work anywhere, right? So now I have a new tool, right? And I need to commit it into my dot files. But now if I say which go ENTR, and by the way, what are the steps for that, right? I would need to go into my dot files. I would need to make a script. I would need to schmox it, schmod plus x, and then I would need to commit it to whatever. In fact, let's go commit it right now because I'm a little afraid. So let's do git add go ENTR, git commit add go ENTR, git push. So now my dot files will have it. So we can go into my dot files, which is just RWXROB /dot, and you can see the last, my branch is not protected, I don't care. There's my last commit, and you can see that I added this new file here, and that's been saved under scripts in my dot files. So I'm just talking through the process here. And I actually already have one. It's called GOT, but it's not nearly as good as the ENTR stuff, so I actually wanted to make a new one anyway. I basically wrote ENTR in shell, not knowing ENTR was a thing. Don't be me. So now what? Now we can do this. It's not a verified commit because I haven't got GPG set up on this VM yet. I know, which we'll do. I'll go through and do that. It's not, I know. I know. I know I need to get my GPG. I haven't been doing it. I got other stuff going on, but this is a new one. Anyway, that's why. Yeah, thank you for the reminder, though. So anyway, so now I can watch this. And anytime I want to test, well, we got to go back where we were. Oh, did you see what I did there? CD space dash. Why did I do that? CD space dash. CD space dash. So it pops back and forth. So I'm popping back into where I was. Didn't have to open a new terminal or anything. And now I can just go ENTR and syntax file. I'm very sad. So I have to I have to fix. I should probably test my programs before I like depend on them. Redirect unexpected line 2. Oh, right. I can't do the exec. Alrighty. Fine. What? No, I'm really confused. Oh, it's bash. I have to use bash. I'm using bashisms. Of course I am. Oh, testing people. CD dot is, yeah, you can do pop dir and all that too, but dash is pretty good enough. There we go. All right, so now it's working. It's not POSIX. No, I was very specifically using bash, and then I thought, oh, it's probably a shell, and I fail. Also, what did I not do? Tell me what else I didn't do that I should have done on my shell scripts that I harped on everybody to do, and I forgot to do it. How could I have not failed so miserably there? If I had done the things I've been telling everyone else to do, I would have caught it. Anybody remember? You should never shell check. You got it. I shouldn't run shell check. If I had run shell check on it, I would have immediately caught it. But that's just a little change. I won't bother. Bad Rob. Very bad Rob. And now it's fine. Right. So we see what it would have said if I had done the right thing. Yeah, I do. I prefer bashism too. Let's try this now. He's like, no, man, I don't know what you think you're doing. It's not POSIX. I was like, oh, okay. You know what I should do? I should put a hook in my git commit for my dot files that automatically runs shell check on any file that it determines to be a shell file. So I can't even commit unless I run shell check on everything. Wouldn't that be cool? That's a very CI/CD kind of thing to do. That's what I need to do. And then shell check will be automatically written every time. That's a project. We need to do that. That would be fun. It wouldn't even be hard. You just have to detect what type of file it is with the file command, which you can just do a type, right? You can just do type go ENTR, and if it comes back as file no, is that right? Yeah, you do file, and then we see if it has script in there or something, and then if it is a script, then we can say, okay, run shell check on it. Otherwise, it's going to be a failed commit. Yeah, we need to do that. That'd be really cool. Anyway, so I have to recommit now because I made a mistake. So go ENTR, fix go ENTR, dumb error. I mean, how is that for what? I already added it. Status. These are other stuff that I have to add. Please tell me I did not change my new X. No, it's okay. That's weird. Go ENTR. Or maybe I didn't add it yet. Huh. It's right there. What? Oh, git add. I'm so stupid. I guess I must not have added it. Okay. Git commit -m add. Something must have gone wrong. What the hell? I'm having successes today. Change is not staged for commit. Your branch is updated. Oh, it's fine. Those are just not staged stuff. Yeah. Git push. All right, so we're fine. Or are we? Or are we? This is a part of the development process, so even though you're here for Go, I don't mind showing you my fails here. Go ENTR. There we go. Is it the right one? No, it's still been SH. But I changed that. What is going on? Please tell me I didn't throw out my changes. Oh, I did throw out my changes because I wanted to see what shell check would say. Is it late? Hey, where's my coffee? I deliberately broke it again and made it the same as the other file, so therefore Git didn't see any changes. You see what I did there? Because I was expecting git commit to work, and it did not because there were no changes. Because I took them out because I wanted to show up. Oh, okay. All right, so here we go. Add correct. How about that? Correct sh2 bash and git push, and that should push now. And then this refresh should be the right thing. There we go. That's what we wanted. All right, as you were to build this script checker, we really need to. We really need to. It's like an argument. A layer 8 problem. User fail. All right, so wait. So let's try our thing now. Huzzah. Oh my God. Where are we? Oh, we're not in the right place. Of course. Okay, so CD back. Wow, I'm just like full of fails today. All right, here we go. People like the fails, so we don't need to dedicate the whole thing for testing screen, so we can do this. But now watch, I can break my test. You want to see me break it? Bork. Save. Oh, how is that working? Oh, that's not good. That is not good. That should not be working. You know what? You know what's happening? It's not recompiling it. Damn it. I mean, why is it still working? Did I? Because I did go run and not go test. I'm a fail. All right, so move go ENTR to go ENTR test. I don't know. I already have a go test. Yeah. Go ENTR test. And we want go test, which will automatically test dot, so I don't even have to do that. All right, let me go back and test this. To ENTR tab, no, ENTR test. Oh, there we go. That's what I wanted. See, that's also bad. This is fine. Pass. Oh, yay. You went up for 30 hours. Oh, okay. So anyway, the moral here is that you can change things and get your tests immediately, and that's kind of fun. And yet it's not looping. You could do that with a while loop like I used to do, but ENTR takes care of that by only running it when something changes. So that's kind of cool. And that was the last piece of testing I wanted to show you before we get on to the next one. Okay, so you'll see here though that because I'm testing it here, that it here's something else that's really cool. Now this is let's make this public, okay? So right now this is a private function, but let's make it public. Let's say we're going to make it a part of our API, a part of our programmatic API, not REST API, not thing like that. I hate that the web people have hijacked the term API. API was being used for things way before web stuff. API is how to interface, how to use the library. Yeah, we're going to run over the whole process. So yeah. Which part of the process? All right, so we already wrote the program, right? We have this program here, main, and now it broke because main can't find this thing here, so we're going to make it a capital. And you're going to see why we made it a capital in a minute. And you can see that it passes now. And so by passing it, what it's doing is it's running foo underscore test. And the foo underscore test says, run the method or function or whatever that matches this name. So it has to come right after the word example. It has to be exactly like that. And then it'll run this code. You have to space, and then it will compare the output to standard output to here. Remember that whole thing I was telling you about logging errors and stuff? This is actually a really good place to log errors because you can see them and they don't affect the output. That's why I was telling you about the standard error and the standard output is one of the reasons. So this output line says to the test case in Go, whatever this line is, see if the result of running that utility generates that output. And if it does, pass. If it doesn't, fail. So if I change it, it'll fail and say I wanted this and I got this, and we can put it back here and it will just rerun the testing. Okay. So, and again, here's the thing. Now, what we changed is we made foo into an exported function. So other languages have the word export in there. They would be something like fung export or external or something like that. In Go, the only thing you have to do to make a symbol, that means a function or a keyword or a constant or anything, visible to the outside world. That means other things that might want to use what you're writing, even if it's a command. It should be a library generally, but if you want to make it exported, and you want it so that other people can use it, then you should capitalize it. All right. Now, the reason that I mean, normally this would not be the kind of thing. Data structures just have to be the names of the data structure references have to be capitalized. That's all. Same with interfaces. So the bottom line in Go is if the first letter is a capital, it's exported. If it's not, it's private. And there's another scoping mechanism called internal, which we'll get into. If you put a special directory called internal anywhere and you put that stuff in the internal directory, you can do uppercase, but it's only allowed to be used within the module itself and not by anything else outside of the module, even though you've capitals. So that's a third scoping mechanism. I know that's a lot to take in as a beginner, but for some of you, that would be a good show note about capitalization. Oh yeah, let's put a show note about that. So let's see, initial cap for functions, and initial cap means export me. Okay, so that's the bottom line. It just means export me. If you like this style of using, some people will put underscores in there. It just depends. But I did want to show you that that is now exported. Okay, so and it's a part of the public interface. So anybody importing your package, there's no imports going on here because it's main, but if they did, they could use it. So the other thing is, and this is why I wanted to do this, when you're writing example tests, the whole point of example tests over the other tests which we haven't talked about yet is to provide readable documentation automatically to your end users. And I'm going to show you what I mean. So, and this is why it's such a tragedy that 70% of Go programmers, in my estimation, don't know about example tests, because they are throwing away an opportunity to write free documentation of their code at the same time that they write test cases. Instead, they write these complicated, horrible test cases that nobody can decipher, and they could have taken a moment to simplify it and ended up writing a ton of extra examples while they're doing their testing. So but in order to do it properly, this only works with things that are exported, and in order to do that, you add test here. Now, as soon as you add test here, things start to get crazy. They start to get whack, right? Because it doesn't know how to get foo, right? So this is where it's like, well, how do I find it? Because it hasn't been exported. What we just did is we used a testing convention in Go where that allows you to rename a package _tests for the sake of putting it out of scope so that you can force the code to literally be exactly what somebody would have to write. Now, in our case right now, that means something like this, right? And this is where we're kind of jumping the gun here, but that does not explanations. Yeah. So So we need to import hello now, right? And this is where it gets a little bit interesting, and this is going to help us use Go Work. So we have hello.foo, but it can't find hello because hello is not anywhere to be found in here. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about, right? So this is our first opportunity. Now, it would find it if it went out to the internet, right? And we had saved it, but we didn't do that. So this is our first opportunity to use Go Work. Now, a lot of this stuff is beginners with Python or JavaScript are like, oh my God, this is so much to remember. But I want to make sure you learn these things early because they will stick with every project you ever use. Go Work was added in 1.18, and it's one of the most brilliant things that ever was added to Go. So right now, our foo test is pretending like it's trying to import this hello.foo, right? Well, it doesn't know where to find that, so because it's not there. And by the way, if it did know, it would automatically publish it here, but it doesn't know that, right? So what we're going to do, there's two things you could do here. So you could do go install, like we said, which will put everything where it needs to be, and that might do it. Let's see. Nope, because that's like package main, right? And this I think we're going to get yelled at because it's a main package. I didn't want to get into module installs in this first part, but it's almost impossible not to. So undefined hello, doesn't know where it is, right? So we're going to import, and this is where you can cheat. Normally, sometimes it'll do it for you automatically, but we want to use the same path that we did here in the module. We want to use that module name, and this is a little bit of a test on my part too, because I want to see if it'll do it with the multi-modules in a single GitHub Git repo. I don't know if it's going to do that. So invalid import path. Oh, module, get input module out of there. All right, so imported and not used, hello as main. So hello, let's see, what is our error this time? Test foo, imported and not used, hello as main. Oh, right. So I guess we can do main.foo. I think it'll work this time. Undefined main. Yeah, it's not going to work. I was afraid of this because it's okay. Because you can have two things. All right, so let's talk about packages. I didn't want to, but let's talk about packages right now. Okay, packages go in their own directories. Okay, so let's just go with this because it's gonna be a thing. So let's pretend like we wanted that package to be completely, someplace else, not in the same folder. And we're gonna make a directory. We could, since we already did this one, we'll move it over there. So let's make a directory called foo, and let's move foo.go and foo_test. So we already showed you that all of the files in that directory go in that package, right? So, but we're deliberately gonna mess with that, and we're gonna put these files into foo, and so now we have a package, right? And main doesn't know where to find them now. Main's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And say, well, what we really want is foo dot, and then let's say hello. How about that? Let's say foo.hello. How about that? So we have a foo here, and we'll go change our file here, and we're going to change it to be, instead of foo, we'll say hello. So then we have to change our package name to match the directory name, which is foo, and then we should be good. Foo hello. I don't know why I'm doing that. It's just coming out that way. But here's the thing. Now we can go into foo, and we can operate and test it all as a separate package. We have foo_test, which we'll also need to change. So now we change this to foo_test. And we have example here. We change it to hello. And now we have foo.hello. And we should get everything. Okay, now you see how it found it automatically this time? And when I did the save, by the way, why are those saves? Just a reminder, the reason that all of those saves are working and it's pulling in the import, people complain about imports, automated imports not working all the time. It's because their Vim's not set up. So you need to go dash Vim, here we go, lol. So you need the fatigue, this is just a reminder, you need to put Vim go and You should probably add these settings. These are all in my vimrc, which we covered like 2 weeks ago, and you can add those. But I just need to remind you, because that's where that import magically appeared. If it can resolve it and you save it, it will automatically find it. You have to save yourself without typing, which is really cool, because if you do like println, if you get rid of it, another thing is you save it, it'll get rid of it. See what it just did? It's like, it's probably the most annoying thing beginners don't know about, is to manage their import line. And people yell all the time about that, but it's actually a non-issue if you've set up your editor right. So we can go down there, and let's actually cd into foo. Let's see, where are we? Let's cd into foo on our tests. Let's run our go ent tests. And, okay, so it's not saying foo hello, so let's say foo hello. Get our test to pass. Okay, boom, test is passing. And what? I need to start a pomo. See, pomo start, because I won't remember. All right, so here we've got, it's doing it. It's doing it, right? Well, the only thing I did differently is I put those foo files in their own package, right? And that meant that I needed to export them. If I were to try to use them with the lowercase, they wouldn't be visible, and it would say, I'm sorry, you can't import that, right? And over here, you can see, with this, remember, all I had to do was resave. Remember that thing about imports? All I had to do was resave, and it resolved it, because it sees, oh, you have a foo right here. I'm going to go get it for you, right? So as soon as I did foo.hello, I'm good. Hello, foo.hello. And I can go into test from the other directory. Oh, there's no test files in here. Okay, well, it is a package main kind of thing, so I don't even know. Let's try to see if we can test package main. I haven't done it recently. Normally I wouldn't do that this way. I would write a, I don't know. Let's try, I know you can do it. I just don't do it a lot. I certainly haven't done it with package, I honestly don't know if you can do this. So we're going to try. I don't think if you can do example tests on main. I don't know. Example main, because main is not exported, so I don't know how this would even work. We're going to try. We're going to experiment X. Yeah, see, it's not even finding a test case because it's called main. So, moral of the story, you probably want to organize your code for testing to be easier to test, right? So this code isn't. In fact, I personally think that your main should call a function. That's my personal take on things. And if you look at my bonsai branch, you'll see that the main, it gets one line, and sometimes there's some variables that are set up globally before that. But other than that, you get one line on that, because I can't test this code. But if I do this, if I say func, even if it's private, hello, right? And I get rid of this main, and then I call main here. This is one of the reasons I wanted to go through this, because when you start doing testing and you're coding for testing, you want to make your code more testable, and so you start now we can kind of try that, right? That's interesting. Wait, I think it let us do it. Maybe not. Main redeclared. Yep. It did rerun it. I think we might be good. I don't know if I like it, but I think it might. This is kind of an experiment on my part. I apologize. I never code that way. That's why I'm curious to see if it'll even work. Main mowing. Now, because we don't have underscore tests up here, it should be able to run it. Yeah, it's not running it. It's really weird. It's not. Go test. No, that's my ENTR is failing for some reason. It's not detecting that other file as having changed. Yeah, my test code's failing somehow. You see how the log though appears? So okay, that's good. We actually did learn that you can test the main function, which is nice. I was thinking you could, but I don't really do that. Most of the time, as I said, I would just call into another function. I just think it's better form. But I can make this test work now. There we go. And remember what I was talking about the ext? I mean, about printing to the logs. So the reason I like this is, you see how your test's output is separated? So you can have your normal test case code down here, and you can send a bunch of like verbose logging, and while you're doing your debugging, you can look at those logs. In fact, this is super critical. I'm going to add a thing here. Use log dot in test in unit tests when data varies. So if you want to see a value of a thing, like the date, time, or something like that, or something that can't be easily tested, but you want to see it. In fact, I've cheated sometimes, and I've just made tests that were just printing stuff out like this. You can't, you can still have a nice, pretty example test with your printlns in there, and put them in a log, and then they don't count against your example test failing. So if you have some variable, like you want to know the process ID, right? That's going to be different for every test, but you want to see it when you run your test. You want it to be visible to those people running the test, right? But you don't want it to show up in the standard output, because it'll screw up the test case, because now it's not going to match because it's not consistent. And you can do fancy things like check whether it's a number, or how many, if it's not null or whatever. But the truth is, you just want to see it during the testing. And the people that are going to see your test case are going to see your log in there. So when they run it, they'll see it too when they're running tests on their case. So that is the reason that I wanted to introduce you to log.println in addition to fmt.println early on, before we got too far into testing and stuff, because you can see it makes a nice, pretty test. Now, we would say hello log world, and you don't know about this yet, but let's add in what is it? os.process_id. What's the process ID? I think it's os.process_id. Go doc. Go. I don't remember it. Go lang. Process ID. There's a standard os.something that I need to go look for. It's get PID. os.get PID. Okay, there it is. So I could do os.get PID, right? I mean, it's it's kind of stupid, but oh, that's interesting. Oh, wait, it didn't run it. I had to call it, of course. What? Undefined OS. Interesting. Why isn't it finding? Is it lowercase? Oh, it's lowercase. Yeah, but it should have imported it, and so my name was wrong. That's why I didn't. Now it will get it automatically. See, it got it up there. Mismatched. Fine. Don't freak about this, please. I'm having fun here. Conversion from int to string yields a string of one rune. All right, we're jumping the gun here, but this is good because it's leading us into the next thing. I was gonna do this, and I thought they don't know that yet, so now you do. I use printf for everything, and now I don't have to do any type conversion. It'll do it for me. Right? Oops, you need a comma there. Need a comma. Yep, there we go. All right, so yeah, I can say PID, whatever, and you'll see how that's different every time. Every time it's a different number, right? So that's just to make the point that there's going to be test output that you're going to want that's going to be hard to test, but you still want to see it. And log.printf is really great for that. And this is one of the things that is absolutely omitted from every single learning resource I've ever read. In fact, I'll put it out there. I will pay you $20. I'm not even kidding. I will pay you $20. I'm going to put a challenge out there. I'll pay 20 actual dollars to Venmo or you or whatever, to anyone who can find any learning resource that talks about log.printf within the first beginning chapters of the book. And they also don't talk about unit testing at all. And they don't talk about example testing at all. They just omit this stuff completely, which makes it so hard for me to recommend them. Because this is so essential to writing Go code if you don't do this. So, there. I am done ranting now. So we move on to high. Well, guess what? We pretty much just wrote high. And so high, what was the challenge for high? So we covered, let's recap what we covered really quick. So we covered how to test stuff. We covered how to make a separate package. We covered how to export symbols by making initial cap. Which I don't know if you should default to export it or not export it. That's up to you. I do. I personally default to exported symbols and functions and stuff. And when I don't want them exported, I put them into an internal subdirectory so that they don't get exported. Because it's just easier to manage a large project that way. If you make it private, it has to stay in that exact same package. And the reason I don't like that is because then when you go back, so let me give you an example. I use default export everything with internal when needed. This is another thing no one's ever going to talk to you about. I've never heard anybody talk about this, but this is so important. When you're starting to manage a large code base, right, you might think that it's safe to default to private. I mean, maybe that's what you learned in your Java or Python class. Everything should be private. You should only export things when they're needed. And while I agree with that completely, from a practical perspective, that makes it very hard to move code around later. Later on, you're going to be like, well, gosh, really, I got these functions here. I need to move them here into this other package. I want this over here, blah, blah, blah. So when you're starting to, and if you have a mouse and you're using it, if you're not your VI or mouse, doesn't matter. When you're like copying and pasting stuff around, you start to realize, oh, you put it into another sub package, but because you made it private, now you can't see it. Now you missed it. Now you got to uppercase the thing. And so now you're like, what the hell? And this is why internal was created. It's very, very undocumented. The internal, it's very, very undocumented. I have never read in a single book anything about how to use internal packages. But if you look through the Kubernetes code base, or if you look through any big code base, you'll see these internal directories all over the place. And like, why are they putting internal in like a million different places? Why don't they just combine them together into one place? And the reason is what I'm about to tell you. So internal is a way for you just literally cut and paste that code out of there into a sub package and put that package into internal. And now you can import it as an external thing, even though it's only external, it's internal. It's not external, right? Internal means that it's only visible to the stuff in the larger module. Module. That means the packages and subpackages within the module. You still have to point to it properly with the proper naming and stuff, but it's a bit accessible. If anybody else in the outside world imports your module, they can't see those symbols at all. So it's a way for you to hide those symbols from them so they don't become dependent on them and force you to, have to fully support them. All the reasons that you're supposed to default to private as a best practice in the Java world or C++ world. But in this particular case, it's really annoying. And it's actually one of the coolest things about Go that if you default to exported symbols, plus the YAML and a bunch of other things are going to be better with structs or the JSON, then you can just move the code around. And this, if you don't want someone else to be dependent on it, you can refactor your code by just moving it into an internal directory. And obviously you're going to have to change your import names and stuff like that. But I don't know. This is a very personal preference. There's a lot of major projects that use this method, that do this. However, I do sometimes use private stuff. The other thing too is that if you, as you saw with example tests and stuff like that. So let's say you want to write an example test like I just did, right? Let's say you want to write an example test and you want your developers to be able to read your example tests and go ahead and use it and everything, but you don't necessarily want everybody else out there to know it's there. Well, if you use it with internal, you can do that. Now, you can also do godoc -- private and have it list all the private stuff, and you can document those, which we haven't covered yet, and they'll get that as well. But it just makes sense to stick with the one style of exporting everything and then moving it around in scope depending on where it makes sense and what repos it makes sense in. You know, by the way, if you're on a big project and you think I'm getting into this wrong, please let me know. Send me a comment or something, because there is no documentation on this at all. The only thing I've ever been able to find is, you know, the Golang documentation that I just saw officially that talks about the use of the internal directory. Okay, and you can go read about that. But the way I found this, and I recommend you do this, is I read a lot of large code bases that were reputed to be very successful and good code bases, including Kubernetes, which made me have kind of a bad taste in my mouth. There's a bunch of bad code in Kubernetes, and that's all I'm going to say. But that was like one of the, you know what, it's a great project, the Kind project. Yeah, so I'm going to actually recommend that to you. I'm going to put that in a list right here. So yeah, get started now finding great Go projects to study. You'll learn more studying a Go project than you will any book, because you're going to go through the Go project and you're going, why are they doing that way? And then you're going to research that. Hugo's code is not very good. No, I would not. No. And you know what? The guy who wrote it, you know, what's his face? Why am I spacing on his name? The maintainer, by the way, is not the guy I originally created. You know that, right? And the maintainer is not very nice, put it that way. I don't like working out. Full disclosure, I was so anti-Hugo for a while because it's all blog-based that I made a thing called Hugonaut, and then I abandoned the project. It's not around anywhere to be found. Because they should have made it data-centric instead of blog-centric, in my opinion, but whatever. That code was Steve Francia. Steve Francia, who's apparently a really nice guy. I never met him. Steve, if you're out there, hi. He's also the Go, I think, lead developer advocate at Google now. And I've been following him from a distance for a long time. He was at DigitalOcean for a while. And, you know, but guess what? Guess what one of his very first coding projects was? Hugo. And it shows. He also wrote Cobra, and I hate Cobra. Steve, you're a wonderful person, but Cobra is a blasphemous, horrible disaster that has made it into mass adoption. There, I've said my piece. And so MQT, I mean, look, you're going to find your own projects. Anything by TJ Holowaychuk. Anything written by TJ Holowaychuk. And TJ very famously wrote Farewell to Go. I'm going to put this in the notes. And say, get to know TJ Holowaychuk. And we're gonna go find Farewell to Node right now. This is this is the moment in my life where I learned about Go, because I followed TJ, and it became sort of a meme in the community. In fact, there was a podcast on at the same time, a Node podcast, because I was learning Node too, that made jokes and said, well, we should just all give up and learn Go. Oh, he's out there. I promise. So this is the blog post that changed my life. I read this blog post in 2014, and I immediately changed all of my efforts to Go, because TJ did. And if you know anything about TJ, I'm going to let you do your own research on this. The guy is one of the most amazing programming artists. Dino replaced what? Dino is replacing Node, kind of, but not really. So he left it. One of the reasons I like TJ is TJ is an artist, and it shows. It shows in every line of code the guy writes. The guy writes the most beautiful code I've ever seen. Am I a TJ fanboy? I'm a huge TJ fanboy, and so, you know, he's pretty famous. He also never taken a single dollar from Silicon Valley, and other stuff. So we'll put Farewell to Node here. I mean, this all came about because you were asking about good code, and it's really easy to see bad code, right? Feral to Node.js, yes. And I don't know if I spelled his name right. TJ, hello, hey Chuck. TJ, if you're out there, love you. The guy's considered a myth, and I'll let you run down that rabbit hole because he's so prolific. It's completely 100% self-taught. Never went to college. So, and made like he made Express, he made Plug and Slate and Jade and a million other things that you'll have heard of. That is still a 5-year at earliest plan. Yeah. So anyway, read great Go projects to study. So another really great one is Kind. And the author, Ben the Elder, who's written, Ben, if you're out there, my God, I am a huge fan of your code. So, what, I don't know about that person. I don't know if we want to go there right now. Ben the Elder, we're in the middle of a thing, so Kind is really useful. Yeah, look, the most genius thing that I saw in Kind is how they deal with like extra variables in YAML parsing. It is so brilliant. In fact, I built an entire module based on what I read in the Kind database. Once again, I'm going to tell you, people say, where should I go for what books? I'm telling you, don't go to the books. Stay with the spec, write your own projects and your own small projects so you can get good, and then find 1 or 2 or 10 like really, really great Go projects and study the crap out of them. Why am I doing this? Study the code base, study the actual code base for Go itself. That's how I learned about writing parsers. That's how I learned that Go2 is not the devil when it's used properly, because it avoids a level of indirection through looping. I mean, there's a million things that you can. Oh, Gmar T-Cell, he's also amazing. Oh my heck, he's committing something. He just committed some more D-Cell. This guy is also a god. So, build your own list of people that you admire, and you can go find those things. If you want to start with code that I've written as carefully as I can, I don't profess to be as good as some of these people, but you can go to my Go Awesome list. Is it Awesome Go? Yeah, I have an Awesome Go list that I've tried to be really careful with. And you can read some of this stuff in here if you want to do that. So what was the one I was just going with? I was going to show you. Oh, the Kind. Yeah. Kind. Dude, I know. He's great. He's amazing. Kind, there it is. Kubernetes SIGs Kind. So there we go. I'm getting the links here from my notes here, so that it pops up in the notes. Yep. And it's got to be one of the best, the better pieces of code out there. All right. So enough of that. That's enough of a little sidetrack, but I just want you to feel confident going in there and watch that stuff. Yeah, Kind is kind. Be kind, and you'll start to get a sense of it. You'll start to be able to look at code and see. And occasionally you'll do a PR on something and you'll get rejected by a bunch of script kiddies who have no idea. I got rejected by somebody they were trying to tell me how to do if statements properly. And I was like, you obviously haven't read the core source code of Go. And it was kind of funny because I was confident in my position and I just said, fine, don't take my own, I don't care. And I just went on my way and made something better because so many people that are these gatekeepers to these projects, they don't really know how to code. They think they do, but they haven't like really dug into some of these other libraries. And that's why I listed the commit rules for the Go project itself, because they contain those best practices that somebody else is making $30 on a book on to sell to somebody, because it's got the same thing in it. But you can just go look at the Go project itself, read the commits and read the source code and understand it. And then that's your best way to learn. Fork a project, make an alternative. I do that all the time. Yes. Aggressive forks. I've done it many times. From the Go standards project layout. Oh yeah. That's a good. Thank you for that link. That's a great link. Yeah, this is what I was referring to earlier, but I didn't want to get into because I was afraid it was going to be too, rabbit holey, which I still think it is. But Golang standards project layout. This is where it's going to talk to you about vendoring. It's going to kind of burn your brain because it's got so many details. So I'm trying to go incrementally through the little details here. So let's get on to our second project, shall we? We got 27 minutes left, but I figure we got lots of stuff here for you to go look at. And oh yeah, the idioms are in there big time. Yeah, and learning Go from O'Reilly, that's full of idioms. Yeah, and so yeah, and Go has very specific idioms, and we'll get to them with if statements, for example. It's very rare to encounter an else statement in Go because it's not idiomatic Go. So anyway, we've got. I think we've gone off the rails enough that we can bring ourselves back now. So, but I mean, that's why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because these are things that aren't covered elsewhere. So, anyway, so we've got our code is working. We have our PID working, and it's time to move on to another project. So let's first commit our code. Let's do like a working commit. I call them, I mean, I think other people call them that too. A working commit is just a, CYA commit. It's like, I'm not necessarily going to push it. I can, but it's mostly just going to save me from deleting something accidentally, especially since I'm about to duplicate code and I might end up overwriting something stupidly like I have done many, many times. So we're going to just commit this for now. A skeleton commit, whatever you want to call it. So as you can see, let's look at the things that got modified. Really a good price. What are you talking about? Clusters. I've already bought some stuff. This is a YouTube stream right now, but Vera, come talk to me at the break. All right, so what do we got? So this is telling us all of the changes, okay, that are going to come. And you can actually approve each individual change with Git. Maybe we'll do that next time. So I'm going to just do git add -a all. I'm going to do git commit finish complete hello challenge. Okay, so I can do that. Then it's you almost never need an else clause. There's no while keyword in the language at all. Yeah. Yeah, the reason for this is because the Go has the fastest compiler on the planet and probably will for the foreseeable future because it has taken steps to make sure that the compiler does not have to screw around at all. Rust has not done that. It's done the exact opposite. So, you can hate the language all you want or love it, but that's the priority. Autocomplete for Go now and Copilot is gone. I am not an autocompleter. There is there's a thing called complete me. What is it? COC. So you guys are asking about completion, co-completion. There are Go program. You know what? You can probably ask the Primagian. Yeah, Prime, are you out there? I think he might like that. He might actually be using that. I'm not using it. Prime's a big Vim user as well. And that's right. I'm asking you to go ask Prime if he's using co-completion because I don't. And I know he's doing a lot of Go coding lately. And I know that he's a big Vim user. And I know that he tends to like things like autocomplete, more monolithic Vim than I do, including NeoVim. I don't. But yeah. Sole source. What do I think about sole source over? Spending time on it? Yeah, for sure. But we're doing a thing. Copilot is crap. I will never use it. It's probably going to get you fired at some point because no legal team would ever approve code generated with Copilot because it contains proprietary code. That's been proven overwhelmingly. So be very careful. I made a whole stream on that question. Yeah, it was for generating the code, but people do use it for code completion. Yeah. Anyway, so and by the way, if you're into completion and heavier editors, I'm not going to judge you. I really am not. I'll make fun of you, and we can go have a beer. I'll buy your beer for you. But I laugh at you, but it doesn't mean that I hate you. Okay, if you want to use an IDE that uses it, Chris uses Goland, loves it. I hate it. I would never use it. But am I slower? Probably. I don't know. So I'm just telling you my way, and I like the terminal stuff because I'm more of a hacker than than somebody who wants to sit in front of, I don't want to use my mouse if I can help it. I mean, there's some times when it makes a lot of sense to use your mouse, but not me. Anyway, so let's do the Hive project. We have 23 minutes left. And how are we on total time? Okay, so we have about an hour and 20 minutes left. So we'll finish a couple projects, but they're going to get faster because we're still doing kind of the initialization stuff. So now I'm just going to write test cases and just assume you know what I'm doing. But we had to kind of cover that stuff before we hit it. So we're in Hello Project, and Hello Project is now saved. I'm going to go ahead and push that. So if you want to go look at it, you can go look at, Uh-oh. Your branch is ahead by 1 commit. Cannot read from your repo. Did somebody delete my repo? Is somebody messing with me? I really hope not. I will be so sad if they are. I'm glad, Vera. Wait, let's not go down that rabbit hole right now, please. We're in the middle of the boost. I know when we take a break, we can do that. What is going on? What did I do while I was talking that I should have been paying attention to? No. I hate pull-up. I don't push the master anyway. It's very odd. I hope I didn't kill myself. I should push, no problem. I must have been the internet, because it worked that time. That was weird. Yeah. Paid plan? No. Yeah, just learn how to do text-based searches. You'll find your answers much faster. And you'll get context. And you'll get people that will... This is why I don't like it. This is why I don't like code completion, period. At the best... Okay, by the way, if you're using VI, it's time for us to talk about something. All right? How to look up Go documentation. So you already know how to do the searching, okay? So the first thing is, so let's you've been seeing me doing this all day. I want to review this, and then and then we'll get into it. So Golang, always start your searches with Golang, right? We've got 20 minutes, Vera. It's up here. Okay, so you can set your own timer. So Golang, we're gonna go to Golang, and we're gonna say os.studerr, right? Or I mean something more generic. We could say how do I redirect studerr in Golang? Always search for Golang though. And there it is right there, right? And I can open this up and I can go through it and I can find it. All of that text-based searching, we spent 5 hours going through that on week 12, I think. 12 or 13. No, it was 12 or 13, I can't remember. So go read about that. You see how fast I got that answer? To me, that's not that much worse than if I had just pushed tab completion or something. Okay. Now, next thing, if I want to search on and I have a general idea of it, I'm going to do go doc, and then I'm just going to search go doc, and then I'm going to type the name of the package that it's in. If I know the exact thing, I can type it in here, studerr, and it will show me the documentation for it. Go space doc standard error. And you're like, and then you're probably going to say something like, man, it would be great, Mr. Rob, if that was in the editor. Guess what? It is. So now you can do, you can do hello, right? And let's do main. No, let's do foo.go. So for example, site go dev, you can also do that. You can do that if you want. There's a million things you can do. And then you go here, you go to the println, and then it's because it's VI. People don't know this. This is built into VI. This isn't just a Vim thing. You can, I think it's Shift. My fingers know it, but I can't tell you what it is. I think it's Shift K. Yeah. So it's capital K from command mode. Capital K from command mode gives you the exact documentation, and then you just colon W and just exit or whatever, right? So, and you can do it for everything. So, and by the way, when you end up writing information about something, you can like do stuff for everything. That one's not undocumented. So let's go see about packaged food. Maybe that one's not. This one's undocumented. Let's do this one. No, that's not, the whole package is undocumented, but this one, K. All right. And you know, so as long as you get the names right. Now, this is not the same as hitting tab, so and having, you know, and going through all the things, which you can do, by the way. I just don't know how to do it. There, completion's already built in here, and I just don't know how to do it. What is the normal thing to start like the completion thing? Does anybody know? It's a control thing. I never use it though. There is a key that you can push though that will give you a big, huge terminal menu that you can go down and it will find the exact thing that you want. I just don't ever use it. Is it Control N? Is it FMT dot Control N? Oh, look at that! I learned something today. Control N and P. Oh, I'm gonna have to use this from now on. I'm gonna have to get good with that. Thank you for that. Yeah, use Control N. I mean, I knew it was there. I just don't use it. Control N, P, for seeing all possible symbols in package. And then we did, what did we say? Use control, no. Use just plain old K, Shift K, to see pop up a documentation, including your own. It's not context aware. Package context related, I think only buffer. Is it only in the buffer? Damn. Foreseeing possibilities. I mean, I think if you were to add code completion, you'd get that. But these are not things that I use normally. And most of the time when I've used this one, I haven't used this one. I've been like, it's because it's so painful. Oh, yeah, look at that. It wasn't even close. Yeah. It's like putting package there. So all it's doing is like grabbing all the symbols. That's very interesting. So it's not package aware. This Go has the language server. It does have a language server built in. The Vimgo built the language server, but it's not in there. Yeah, and if you want that, that's fine. And you can set up code completion stuff. I don't do it. As I said before, the reason I don't do it is because either I have pop-up documentation so I can get the right syntax, or I can just go search it from the command line. Yeah, so go doc, or question mark, whatever, question mark, go doc, go lang. All right, so very long variable names. Yeah, I hate people that make very long variable names, and there are lots of people who do that. I really don't like it when people do that. It's become a real common thing too. In C++, it's a common thing too, like crazy. I watch Strager. I mean, he's great. I love Strager. But when he's like coding in C++ with like those like 80 character names, it just makes me want to like do something violent. I hate it. I hate that. They're all about, oh, the documentation's the name. No. In fact, that's one of the things that's idiomatic about Go. And so when I see people doing that in Go, I seriously want to do something violent, because it's not Go. That's not the Go idiomatic way. If you don't know it, go read Go Essentials and go read, the Go commit code bases and stuff like that. Don't stutter and all these other like stylistic things. Your first Go project. Yeah, that's another reason I hate Kubernetes, because it was written by a bunch of Java programmers. And they basically just took all of their horrible style habits and codified them forever. There, I said it. I said it. I'm sorry. People will be mad because I said that, but long fix variables with little comments. Yeah, they don't comment anything, and then it's like, because I look. I'm just telling you that's frowned upon in the Go, officially in the Go community, very much so. Again, read the Go code base and you'll see the styles and stuff. Uh, the names are good enough. Yeah, that idea, the idea that the names are good enough should be amended to be they're also as short as they need to be. And the other thing that I really love about Go is Go embraces variable name length based on the scope. So if you're using stuff in a very, very tight scope, a single letter is just fine. If you're using it within a block, we haven't got there yet, but when you're using it in a block, 2 characters, 3 characters is just fine. Anything beyond 3 characters in a locally scoped block in a smallish function is a sin against nature. If you put like it actually distracts from reading the code if you have to wrap the lines because you've picked these big ass names that have to be repeated 3 times on the same line. People, figure out how to scope and name properly, because if you don't, you're going to put everybody through hell. And Go is the Go community, particularly the Go core team, is really, really strict on this. One task lunches is also a must. Absolutely. Yeah. These are all the things. And this is the art of coding. This is the stuff that you're not going to learn, but we still haven't finished. We've only finished one of our exercises, right? We're still talking, but I struggle with teaching Go because I'm afraid I'm going to produce people who are going to go out there and make that crap. And then they're going to go, oh yeah, I learned how to code Go from Mr. Rob. And I don't, this is one of the reasons I've been really hesitant to teach coding on Twitch, because when I was doing one-on-one mentoring, I could literally look at your code, and before I put you in front of somebody to interview or something, I could vet your code and I could say, okay, if you're going to do this, I want you to understand that that's not how I would do it. And they're like, that's fine. Or they would be like, oh, well, what's better? And then they would do it better. And I could like kind of, vet it and help them out before they went telling everybody that I was their mentor. Because I hate to say it, but one of my fears is that people that claim that I was their mentor are going to make absolute horrible code, and they're going to come back to me and like, did you show them it? I'm like, no, man, I had nothing to do with that. So if you're wondering why I'm being so verbose and talkative and stuff, that's why. It comes out of a very sincere, selfish fear that some of you are going to go into the coding world and you're going to really suck. Just like me when I started. And you're going to say, well, Mr. Rob, said, I never told you to do that. So I'm sorry if it's a little bit overly pedantic and wordy, but that's where I'm coming from before they learn. Yeah. I mean, So, yeah. I mean, so again, this is where my hesitation comes from. You feel personally attacked. No, I'm here for you. I am. And there's a lot of other people that are here for you too. And we're a community, we're a group, we're going to do this. If you have any doubts at all, ask somebody from the community who's been around, or more importantly, and this is what TJ says, look at other people's code who have been doing it for a long time and see if your code looks like their code, and ask yourself, why does their code like this? Why are they doing it like that? Be a copycat. Great artists copy. What is it? Good artists copy, great artists steal. Right? Jobs said that and stuff. Go look at good coding. That's why I'm just going to say it again. And in my code, some of it's good, some of it's bad. So, but the most important thing you can do is like toss aside all those books and read code, good code, and that will help you learn. Start with a test and then read that first. And by the way, I'm going to make another plea out there to our veteran Go programmers. This is why starting with example tests first is a service to humanity. Because when you do that, anybody can enter your code base and immediately knows what's going on just by looking at your example tests. If you write a complicated, testing library, and there's a whole bunch of them, thing with really esoteric, weird things and crazy ass fuzzing, which sometimes is needed, then, you need to understand that you've just alienated everybody who wants to come into your code base. Unless the people really, really, really want to unpack that dense test case that you wrote. So there, that's all I have to say about that. Next, moving on. So get status. It's almost time for a break, actually. let's go ahead and take the break early because it kind of works out time-wise. We have 1 hour here. So let's go ahead and take the break now. Plus, we didn't start the poem until a bit late. And read test is the only way. Yes. Run code to understand it. So I don't think it's just test. I think you can read the actionable code. Yes. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and take a break, but I'm going to leave the chat on right now. And I'm going to actually no, I'm not. I'm going to take a break and we're going to go off. We're going to take a coffee break. We'll be gone for 8 minutes. When we come back, we'll be doing our final 56 minutes or so, and we'll actually do the high program and probably the Greek program as well, because I think I've ranted enough. But hopefully you find this stuff valuable. All right, here we go on break. See you in a bit, YouTube. All right, so we got another hour, and then we're off to having fun on our Sunday night, doing whatever. We're going to start a new project. So the second challenge is the high project, which, you know, we had a lot of fun rabbit hole conversations, but I think they're all relevant. And now we're going to apply all of that. So the bottom line difference between high and hello is that high takes a variable. And you already know what those are because we did bash and we talked about variables there. If you don't, it's functional math, you know, algebra, you know what a variable is. So the variable that we're going to take is the name of the person, and we have to figure out how to pass that in. And it's not that big a deal. I mean, if you've done any programming at all, but I'm not assuming you've done anything other than bash. So if you've already programmed in another language, this is like a no-brainer. If you haven't, then I'm going to talk to you like you're brand new. So, and you know, 10. So, all right. So we're going to go back into our proper directory here, 17, and let's make a new directory. We're going to, one of the reasons I wanted to do modules properly is we can, every time we do a new lesson, a new project, we can go through the exercise of creating a new module every time. And you can get into the habit of doing that. Okay, so first thing is we're going to make a directory called hi. And we're going to go, yeah, I just restarted YouTube. I recorded video. Yeah, the video just got restarted, unpaused. So according to my OBS, it should be fine. All right, so now we're going to cd into hi, and there's nothing there. All right, so I'm going to ask you now, what is the command to initialize a module? Give that some thought. You should know it. We did it already once. What is the command to initialize a module? Thank you for the reminder, though. That's very easy for me to not have done that. So I'm going to give you the answer. Go mod init. But is that enough? Nope. Nope, we need more. So we're going to do go mod init. Now, this is where it needs to match your GitHub like long name, right? And we'll get into go work later another time, but let's try this. So I happen to know it's github.com/RWXROB/ I don't remember what comes after that. And if you don't remember, you want to cheat? Should we cheat? You can copy. You can copy the one from hello, go.mod, and you can put that in here, and then just go change it. There you go. Boost weeks 11, change hello to hi. Boom. Because I couldn't even remember it. It was like boost weeks 17 hi. Okay. I'm glad I went through my boost and cleaned up everything because the directory structure, because we're going to be really dependent on this. It's going to be hard coded in all our programs. So anyway, now we have a module, right? And in fact, you can try to run it. You can go run dot, and it'll be like, no packages are here. I don't know what to do. And as we said before, every Go module is either a command or an importable package, but not both at the top level. So what are we going to do? We're going to make another program to run. So we're going to make another command. What is the name of the file that I prefer? I prefer to make my files main.go. And the reason for that's to remind me when I look at it that this is a command module and not a library module, if you will. And so now what? Now we're going to put And so this will actually do it automatically for you. Package main, and then what? Func what? Main. All right, and we actually don't need anything more. That is the minimum necessary to have a thing. So I can actually run that. It won't do anything, but I can do that. Now, if we want to go back to what we were doing before, do you remember it? What's the command to make it print? T.print println, right? We can do hello, and let's do there. Let's say we wanted to say hello there, or no, let's make it say hi there. Hi there, how about that? Hi there. A little bit unique. Okay, we're gonna turn our test on. Make sure we're in the right place. CD into hi. I can turn my new script, which I will remind you. Let's do that. VIC, this script that we spent some time writing together in Bash. That's why we learned Bash first. Go entr test. There it is. All right. I could probably ex that to you. You guys want it? I'll ex it to you. There you go. That's like all that code. So that's ex is a way that you can save stuff for your friends, and it's kind of like pastebin, but it's terminal based. Okay, so you can get those lines if you want those directly, but let's run it. So that can be run anywhere. And make sure you understand what that line is doing, by the way. If you do not understand that line of Bash, you need to go back and do the Bash week again. We did Bash in 2 or 3 weeks, and if you do not understand that line, it's got a little bit of everything in it. Make absolutely sure you understand what it's doing. Yes, we did. Yep, we did like 2 or 3 weeks of Bash. So because we wanted to lead up to this for that very reason. So we can write utilities that we can use to do our coding for us, and Unix filters and stuff like that. All right, so now what? I can do go entr tab test, and it will run, and it's saying, hey, there's no test files here. All right, well, let's fix that. Let's save this, and let's write a test file now that we know we can. Main test.go. Right, we got our package main. We're going to make it so that you would have to import it. I don't know if this is going to work. We'll try. So func example main, and we want the output to say hello there, right? Hello there. And we need to call our thing, so we need to call main. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. I think I'm going to have to do it like this. Yeah, I don't think this is going to... Why isn't it picking up my test cases? Yeah, for some reason it's not picking up changes to the test files. Did I put something with go at the end? No, go clear, go test, find entr. I think I'm missing something from my script. I'm just going to go fix it really quick. I think that was it. I just saw it. Find source. Launch Unreal Project. Huh. Do. Anybody have a better one for me? It's not picking, for some reason it didn't pick up my, it didn't pick up all my files. I think I might have it wrong. Entree, use entree to on Golang tests if any file changes. Let's see if there's something specific. find surgery. I don't like the whole find pipe thing. You don't need to do that. And that it shadows some things. Run, go tests, run. Yeah. Let's see if ENTR is here. Nope. Nope, nothing there. Average currents of files change. Wait, is this somebody's actual code? And ENTR, maybe the man page has an example. Examples find. Source enter dash s. Rebuild a project if the source files change. Limit outputs the first 20 lines. Launch and auto-load the script. Clear the screen and run a query after the SQL script is updated. Rebuild project if the source file is modified. Dash D make done. What's better here? ls star. The reason I wanted to do find was it does everything beneath it. So yeah, let me practice again. Find that. So there we go. See, yeah, it's supposed to like list any of those files. If any of those files change, it should do it every time. You know. I'm wondering if it doesn't do it anew every time. You know. Let me try. Okay, so if I undefined main, right? So we have to make this private. So, but that's fine. We can still do that. Hello there. I can change this to hi there. Save. Okay, that seems to have done it. That was weird. All right. So what did I change so I can get a sense of it? I just changed it. I got rid of the exec. Yeah. I got rid of the exec. I think the exec was not kept. No, that's not it. No, I don't know. I got rid of the exec. This seems to be fixed. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, so here we go. We got our test running. We're doing hi there, right? So, and by the way, just remember, just from last time, this is running. I can run private things in here and test them. Unless I put, this here, right? Now, if I wanted to make this exportable, I could just do this instead and, have another function that says hi, hi.go, and we could have func hi. I mean, it doesn't even have to be in a separate directory. I could put it in a separate file. I can put it in here if you want. You can put func hi. And keep it exported, right? I can say hi. I like to always begin my function names with a verb. That's unless it's an accessor, which is a different thing. And we can put this code in here, and then main can just become, just do say hi. Say hi. Let me just call say hi. And that is why would I do that? Because now, when I do this, I can change this to be an example-based test. Also, I get a top-level function out of it that I can call, even if I don't want to make it a command. So now I can use this as a library, even though it's in the main package. There is a better way to do that, but I'm not ready to go there yet. Where we can make all your top-level functions here and then put your command down below. Do you want to do that? Should we do that now? Since we've been talking about packages. All right, let's do the right thing. Let's do the proper thing. Okay. The first character, yeah, because it exports it. I am gonna tell you that. Why always create top level libraries with CMD for commands. So I feel like I'm rushing you, but it also feels like the right time. You're going to have to stop the video and be like, why is he changing everything again? So, spoiler alert, it's generally not common to make a single utility at a top level GitHub repo. For the reason that we just saw. Because it's very, very likely that you are going to want to reuse some of that code somewhere, right? And so from a very early time in your programming career, you should start thinking of things in terms of composition and functional programming and these things, how is this code going to be used by other people? You should start thinking about that really early on. And the difference between Go and Bash is this isn't just some quick and dirty little script. This is very likely going to be something that you're going to want to use later. And so I was going to wait to talk about this, but we're going to talk about it now. From the very first day of coding in Go, you should start thinking about what is the functionality of what it is that I'm making. What are the actions? And you should start to create composable blocks of those things. That's what, in this case, functions are. And then you should start to put those things together. And then you can reuse them later. So what does this have to do with the module thing? Well, as you can see, we've already kind of outgrown the package main, right? So what if we change this to package hi? All right, we're going to change it to package hi. And then we could change say to say hi.say. Or you could say, as you can see, hi is probably not the term we want here. You know what? Let's back up a bit. Great. We'll do this with greet. We'll do this with greet. Okay. So let's say hi. I'm gonna change it up again on you again. So say hi is here, and we call it here, and then so let's do it. So let's do main test. And then up here we have what is it? Main dot. I don't think this is gonna even work. Say hi. Say hi. We change that to be the function test. Undefined main. I was afraid of that. Yeah, because see, it doesn't know about main because main is a command. It's not designed to be, but we're gonna try it anyway. Import github.com/RWXROB/ what was it? Boost weeks 17 /hi, and it still didn't find it. That's not good. Damn. Yeah, well, we're starting to hit the problem early. Yeah. I mean, there's another way we could do this, and I kind of want to say that. Yeah. I mean, I'm debating. I'm debating about whether we should... Look, if you just want to make it private for now, this should work. And then we just get rid of the prefix, right? And that passes, right? But what did we just do? We made it so that it's we got rid of the underscore test, which makes it... Yeah, it'll show up as an example, but say hi, yeah. So it works, but it's not as useful. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here because I want to get to greet today too. Let's try to do that. Let's bust through this and then we'll get to the next one. All right. So the next thing we want to do is we want to say, I don't want to just say hi there. I want to say, so let's write a test case for it, right? I want to say, I want to do another example. I still want to test say hi, but I want to test it with a name. We'll say hi name, right? Now I have to put underscore and then this thing here based on examples. So I don't know if you can see it, but this here has to match exactly the name of the function in order for the reflection to find it. And then this, everything underscore that, this is to just give it some extra. And you'll see when we do the documentation, it'll actually capitalize this but I don't think you can capitalize it right now. I think it'll cause a problem if we try to capitalize it right now. I don't remember. We'll find out. So output. So we want this one to say, hi Rob, right? How about that? And I mean, that's our end goal, right? And so we can say hi, and obviously it's going to fail. And we're like, how do I get it to do the right thing? And so we need to pass in an argument, and we already learned about arguments when we did bash. So we're going to pass in an argument in here. We're going to put Rob in here, right? And it's like, it says down here, too many arguments to the call. That means we have to change our code. So now we wrote our test case first to make sure that it would pass. And now we need to write the code that goes with the test case. So we go into the main, and we can say, hi there. And we need to change it, right? How are we going to do that? Right? So we're going to change hi. We're going to give it an argument, but we have to, let's call it name. And it's a string. Now, the first thing I want you to see about this is that this is the first time we've used a type. And it's really important that you see that the type comes after the identifier. That reverse notation, we talked about it last week, but I want to talk about it again and again and again because you got to get this. This allows us to do things like name, other name, and string, and they only have one type definition. If we had put string in the front, like other languages do, you cannot do that. And there's a huge blog post from Rob Pike about why that was done. Putting the type at the end is actually more efficient for the compiler, and it's easier to write, even if it's harder for people to get used to who have been stuck using it the dumb way, which I don't like the other way. There is no return value to this function here, though, so that's just going to say hi. Now, if we just save this, it's going to yell at us and say, oh, there's not enough arguments, right? So down here we called say hi, but we didn't give it any arguments. Now, I can put Rob here and make it work, but that's broken, right? Why is that broken? This will pass, but it's broken, right? We put say hi down there. Oh, okay. But we have a problem, Houston. Why is our other test failing now? You see the other test that's failing? So let's go see why that other test is failing. So main test, we'll go to line 4. So line 4, this exact location, by the way, you see this, you can find where it's at. Types work left and right, to be clear. No, the type has to only be on the right. Yep. So 4.2, you see this right here? It says main test 4.2, and then I can look right here, and I can see that my position in VI is 4.2. So that's how you can find your errors. There is a setting in Vimgo that you can turn on that'll actually put a little red mark where your error is in Vim. It's pretty cool. It's not even a NeoVim thing. I have mine disabled right now. There was some problem with it at one point. It broke. So it's telling me that this test is fine, but this test is broken. I mean, so temporarily, let's turn this test off. So I'm wrapping it in a comment, and a comment is, just slash star and then star slash big line comment. So you can do that, or you can do 2 slashes for a comment. And we need to put that in here. Commenting code in Go. Comment code with and slash. All right, so okay. Hey, how's it going? We're just wrapping up a boost thing here. All right, so here we go. We have example say hi, and as you can see, it's failing because it's saying hi there, not hi Rob. But why? But it's let's go figure that out, right? So let's go open it up. And yes, if you want to have these two things open in different panes, that's fine. I don't have a problem opening back up and closing the other one. People yell at me all the time for doing that when they see me doing it. Like, why? That's so inefficient. It's not if you're just dealing with small files and you're in VI, because VI doesn't take forever to boot up. Or NeoVim. God, even that takes for a crazy long time. So thank you. So there we have it. So it says it got hi there instead of hi Rob, even though we passed Rob in. So it ran the code. Let's prove that it ran the code, shall we? let's do a log. Now, this is the first time you're going to see me use something that I've got a little macro for. So I have set up a Vim macro that just prints log.print made, and I push comma and then M, and it prints it out. If you want to see how to add those things to your own vimrc, you can. And I have to go find my macros. Where is it? So there it is. So here are a couple of macros for you. I'll give you these two in eeks. YouTube is not going to be able to see these, so this is just for the people watching at home. And it's going to replace those lines with an eeks line, and I'm just going to give those watching right now. I'm just going to paste this for you, so you can go get that code if you want, and add that to your thing. But this is, you can copy these lines and you can modify them and learn just enough Vim script. I don't know it, but you can learn just enough Vim script to make some pretty interesting things. And these are just, aliases for whatever you want. You can do it with macro saves, but then they don't stick around, right? When you go to another system, those macros you have to copy them all over and stuff. And people do that, but I just as soon have it hard coded into my vimrc. So, and yeah, this is one of those places where we could go down quite a bit of a rabbit hole, but we're not. So I just wanted to see that that's what I did. So for me, my in this case, my leader key is a comma. So I just do comma M, and it prints it. It just prints it, right? And you see me do that all the time. So, and then I can go over here and I can change this. So I'm going to print the name, all right? So, and you can see now that there's my log message is up here. I had to make room for it there. And that was, by the way, just Control A K to resize my panes, which we talked about when we did tmonks 2 weeks ago. So, so now you can see that it's actually getting the name, but it's not printing it out. So that's enough for me to see, oh, it's still printing hi there. It's not taking my name. Well, I better fix that. Okay, so I could do this because they're both strings. I could say, but I could do this, right? Plus is going to join it. And so let's put that in. Concatenate operator, which is the plus. So, okay. And this is perfectly fine. The concatenate operator is actually faster than printf. I've read that, and so I don't know, but don't optimize too early. It's mostly about how easy it is to read, right? Well, and then we need this here. We need an exclamation point. Notice how the strings have double quotes around them, and if you're a Python person, you cannot use single quotes. That's a different usage in Go. So Bash and all that lets you do whatever quotes you want. If you don't like double quotes because they're harder to read, I actually don't like them, you can use backticks, which will actually allow you to put line returns as well. And that might freak people out because in Python, they have special meaning. In JavaScript, they have special meaning. In Bash, and they have special meaning. In Go, backticks are exact literals, and they become constants that get put in put on the stack, not on the stack, I think on the heap. Time for me to do my C again. So, and you can see that it's auto formatting every time I save because, Vimgo is doing that, which is really great because I can do crap that is really ugly, like this, and then I can just hit save and it'll fix it. So there we go. So we got the name, and it's passing, right? It's passing, and we can get rid of that debugger. We don't need that anymore. And we're passing now, right? So it's changing it to print out whatever the name is. Now, an alternative way to write this would be like this. You could also say %v and then exclamation point and then this comma name. But if you do that, you need to change this to gprintf. And as you'll see, it will pass, but it's not completely accurate because watch, if I do go run dot, you'll see that it does not put a line return. Yeah. It's time. For your lol, yes. So as you can see, printf requires you to put an explicit line return, which is a good thing. You want that. The problem is that now it's not going to work because why? Remember I told you about literal strings? So backticks in Go mean that no, it's exactly what it is. There's no escaping anything in a backtick, unlike bash, right? There's no escaping it. It takes it as a constant exactly as it is. If you want to do that, you have to use double quotes for that kind of thing, right? I mean, you could have done a concatenator operator there as well as you want. So I just wanted to show you that variation. So that covers strings with double quotes, right? And string literal and backticks, but never a single quote. A single quote is a character or a byte, or in Go it's called a rune, and we'll get there, I promise. But for right now, let's just keep it like that. So where are we on time? We got 20, 15 minutes. We're about done with this one. Well, let's save greet for another day, because greet is going to take this entire idea and put it into a package. Okay, so we'll switch back from, when we do greet, we'll start using actual top level packages and commands in a subdirectory, as opposed to just using top level, main libraries and stuff. And this is, an extension from using Go run like we did last time. So there we go. Those kind of two different ways to do this. They're both kind of the same. Now, but this, we really don't have a proper test case here, do we? Because our test case is going to be, it says, okay, say hi, right? Well, what if I want to say hi to Doris, Then I should put another line here, and it should be say hi to Doris. Well, now my test case is going to fail, right? And it should auto update and fail. Why are you... Oh no, it's passing. You know why it's passing? Because we're not testing the main program. Yeah. Because what is the main the main program's still broken though, right? You see why? It says hi Rob every time. All right, so yeah, this is good. I didn't plan this. This is really good. So this means this is going to work, right? We still have some bugs though, because that's nice that works and all, but our program's not going to work because main is not there, right? And I just don't think how could we even test that? Let's try it. I'm going to try to do main again. I don't normally do this, so that's why I'm saying let's test main. Yeah, let's just call main and see what happens. And the output if I just call main should be hi there. That's what it should be, but I promise you that's not what it's going to be. See? It failed. It got hi Rob instead, right? Okay, so that's good. So we made a test case for that, right? That's good. That's good. And again, we're doing private. So this test case file can see all the private stuff because we don't have underscore test that would cause it to be an external package import dependency and that kind of thing. So we can just make it that way. And we can probably so we know we have a problem here. We have two problems actually. So we have to fix this test and we have to fix this test. So this test is supposed to say hi there if we just call it with nothing there. And you already know the answer to this. If we go to main, you'll see, well, we just tried to get it to work. Failing test +1, yes. So here we have, so it's calling say hi, but it's cheating. There's the event check donate to shipper, etc. I don't know what that is. Check it. Donate, I don't know. So anyway, so we have say hi here, right? And if we just call it like this, it's like, well, how can we allow the user to say what they want? I mean, we want it to be there by default, right? So okay, so we have a number of things we can do here. We can either make say hi Well, let's first of all do it down here, right? So this says say hi has to always have an argument. And this is unlike Python and some of these other languages where if you define a signature, you can just ignore it, right? And it don't give, I mean, spoiler alert, if you do this, it'll just ignore it. See what it's doing now, right? We're going to get there though. You can do it with Go. You can't do that with C though. Or even, I don't think, well, no, Rust has got variable vector lengths too, I think. Anyway, so what we want to do is let's put the code in the main, right? So in main, we'll say, so this is our first, yeah, it's Twitch. What is it? I don't know what that is. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. So, all right. Okay, let's do this. So, let's do this. Let's say hi, say main. And we want this so that if we have, we want to put, if there is an argument, right? So let's write the algorithm. So we can say to do add pass there if there is no name provided. Okay. So what do we mean name provided? How do I get a name? So this comes back to our bash knowledge. This is why we learn bash first. Because of our bash thing that we did, we know that there are these things called arguments that are passed into any script that's run, or any executable that's run from the command line. Everything that runs on the command line in Linux and other systems has a parameter list, and those arguments are passed into that parameter list. Okay, and we can look them up. And so this is the first time you're going to hear about it. So we're going to pass in something called using os.args, and we did this last time, but I kind of went through it fast to get past parameter arguments. All right, so there is no specific number defined. This is a variable length list, and we went into extreme detail about lists last week. I do feel like this has been a real rehash of last week. I'm sorry, but there was still stuff that we had to get out, and I think we're kind of on our way now. So what we have to do now is we have to say, okay, so if the length, we already covered this just last week. So if the length of args, which is a list, it's a slice. It's called a slice in Go. So just a review of slices, review lists in Go called slices. All right. And slices are variable arrays, essentially, lists, and we're going to do that. It just an OS ability is generally overall. Yeah, in Go, you can use it anywhere. So that's the thing. Go will just take those things. So if the length of the args is greater than 1, and we talked about this last week, I'm not going to repeat that. The length of the args is always, let's do a log here. So let's do a log here. And let's print out os.args. Let's put them all out just while we're doing our testing so we can see them. Man, it won't even compile, so we can't even get to that point. We got to get it to compile first. So let's leave this out for now, and we need an argument here. So we'll say name here, right? And we don't have a name, so let's define a name. Var, let's give a name a default name equals there. That'll be our default value. And we talked a little bit about that last time. Oh, look at this. So this tells you all the stuff that was in args. So args was passed this thing, and then test past timeout. This is gonna be interesting because I don't think this is gonna work. It's gonna be very interesting. So let's print what args 1 is. In this case, it's 0. Oh no! Look at dash test panic context. This is super interesting. Racing original music, very cool. So yeah, let's keep going. So So this is interesting because this is, as I've said before, I don't normally use test cases on main here, and I kind of just was shooting from the hip on this to see if we could actually use it, but we actually can't because this is really good. I'm glad we're getting hit with this because normally the number of arguments, as you can see that, if I just put args in here, you can see that when the command is run, this is super cool. So when the command is run as a test, what the test does is it compiles the program. I'm not quite ready yet. I'm in the middle of a thought. So the test compiles a program. It compiles a binary, right? And you can use this to be sneaky. And then it passes these arguments. These are each arguments that are passed to the compiled binary. So it's as if we did go build, remember? And then it passes the timeout and all that other stuff. So the problem with this is that we can't actually use the args list here to see what we want to do here, right? We can't really use it because if we try to check what arg are we looking for, you know what I mean? There's no arg to look at because we'd have to look specifically at like the last one in the list. So this is very, very interesting because this means that we cannot use reliably, we cannot use Go unit testing to test the main binary without some real magic. And that's kind of a wall that we ran into because I was just experimenting with main in general. But because, we can't say that. Now, what we can do instead, however, is we can do something that's a little bit easier than this because, as I said, we can't test the main thing, right? So let's not put it in the main thing. Let's not put it in there. Let's not be dependent on that at all. How about that? How about that, huh? So let's do it kind of the way you should do it. Let's put this all out of here. We'll put the name up here. We'll put it in here, right? And we're going to put ... which makes the name optional. And we're going to get rid of this down here, right? And we're just going to call say hi. Actually, we don't even need to call that. We can say, we're going to have to check. Oh, no, we're not going to be doing tests on the main thing anyway. So we don't need to mess with that. So yeah, so now we can actually put our code back in here. Yeah, we basically, okay, I have a better idea. Let's drop our tests of the main thing. So what we just determined is that this is broken. We cannot test the main function call from a unit test, even if it's a private unit test. Why not? Because it generates a binary for us that's going to throw off our argument count. So this is a bad practice. So let's do this. We're going to put it here as say wrong creates wrong number of arguments. Okay. So I'm going to leave that in there as a no. So let's not do that. But we can do this one, right? So let's just test the function itself. So we should be able to do say hi, and say hi, right? So this one should say hi there. This one should say Rob, and this one should say Doris, right? And that's really all we care about. This one up here, by the way, we don't need anymore, right? Because we just duplicated it down here. So let's just make that our new normal because we only want one test. We can test all three things. All right. So this has been very organic, but that's the way I like it. So let's go down here and we'll say main.go and we have our say hi name. And instead of here though, we're just going to do this, right? We're going to pass. In fact, hell, we don't even need that. We could just say, no, we have to call say hi name. Sorry. So we have say hi. And there's two ways to do this. I'm trying to decide which way is better. So actually let's, we don't have enough. See that error about not having enough arguments? Let's fix that. Okay. We don't have enough arguments. So let's make it a variadic number of arguments. That means it can take more than one, right? It can take 0 or 1. And you see how our test passed now, almost passed. So we just have to do a little bit of extra code here. So I actually need to put that on our list. So we covered variadic. Did I spell that right? I think I spelled it right. Variadic argument signatures. Okay, so now we can say I want to have more than one, right? 0 or more. But now we have to check it, right? So now name, actually, let's change name to args. Because now we can have like any number of arguments in there. And now it's kind of stands alone, right? So, and the other thing that's cool here is now we can do this. Now we can do os.args. Oh, now you see what's happening? As type string. Oh, right. So if I want to do that, I can just do this. So there we've covered variadics. All right. And over here we can put args. And it will actually put them every the same as before. We're still fixing it. So what I want you to know you right here is that if you add 3 dots in front of a type, it will create a slice of that type with 0 or more of that thing in it. But it's okay to pass a os.args in this case is let's go look at it. You can just do K on it. There we go. So we can see I did shift K on that to see what it is. So os.args is a slice of strings, right? But so this is a very important thing about Go. When you pass a list of something and you want to expand it out as if it had been passed as a variadic number of arguments, then you have to put the triple dot on the end. Control C. I just did Control C. Or K. Shift K. Okay. So now what we have is we have a number of arguments that's coming in here. We have 3. So this says when we added the triple dot, now I could do this. I could do this too. Should we do it without the variadic? If we do it without the variadic, then we still have an error. Why do we have an error? We have an error because our test case says, I want to be able to not pass anything. You know what I mean? I want to be able to say there is nothing here. And so that's why we have a variadic number of arguments. So when we go back here, we're going to change this to say, I want to assume a number. And this is a very standard thing when you're moving from bash to Go, is dealing with the arguments. And it's very, very common to see signatures like this for this kind of utility thing, right? Now, we still have a problem because we actually don't want to print high args like that. We want to print the first thing if there is one. So let's do that. Let's say, let's do a little bit of code here, and we'll say, so if the length of args is greater than 0, and this time it's 0, not 1, because it's not os.args, it's more, oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot about this. Okay, so what is the first one we want, by the way? Do we want args 0? Oh, man, we're going to get into some fun stuff here. All right, so the problem now is that there is, let's go back to our test case. And let's get rid of that first one, right? So now it'll pass. So we have, hi, Rob. Hi there. Hi, Doris. Oh, my gosh, it's working, right? Wrong. Okay. So it's not working perfectly. It looks like it is, but it's still missing something. Anybody want to know? So what happens if we don't have an arg0, right? And I don't know if you can see it, but you see how it put an extra space there? It's putting an extra... No, it's got a single space. Okay, never mind. So yeah. So os.args, and it's expanding them out. But if we let's do a debug here. How many args do we have? Let's go see. Let's print out the length of args. Let's do that in our output. Oh, okay, so we had 1 arg both times, and the other time we had. So we're only doing it with 1 arg, right? Because we got rid of our other test case. Let's go back to our test case and turn this back on, and it'll blow up now. And that is a panic. And that's the first time you've seen a panic. So let's look at it. A panic is when you try to access something that doesn't exist at all. And you see, it's a memory bounds exception. No one needs to worry. Panics do not allow arbitrary code to be executed on the stack and all the stuff that you can do with C. It blocks that, but it's still a pretty serious thing because you're trying to access something that doesn't exist. And this is the most common beginner noob mistake that ends up in production code. A panic in production code is super bad because it shuts down the entire operation, so much so that you can actually trap panics and protect your code. But that's kind of an advanced topic. I don't want to talk about it right now. Kind of like you can trap, exceptions in Python. We're not going to do panic right away, though. We'll need to make sure we get panic on the list. It's not something I normally teach even to beginners, but we definitely do need to cover that. Introduction to panic. Okay, so when reading off end of slice. So the reason we got a panic is because right here, and it'll tell you actually, it'll say, if you keep looking through the panic thing, it'll say run example.go, say hi, here we go, say hi, go main go.12, and so main test.12, it tells us what it was called. So let's look at main test 12. So let's look at that. So main test, line 12, 12G, and we see say hi. Okay, so that triggered it, and then that called main.go, and we can go look at line 12 there, and we see that this line triggered it. Because why? And you're looking at it and you go, oh, because the 0 doesn't exist. It's trying to look for an array that has a length of 0, and that would show up above here if we could see it, which is we're having a hard time seeing right now because there it is. See it? See the 0 right there? So the 0 says that we tried to access a thing that doesn't exist. So then we can say, I don't want to do that. And now we need to put our check in here. So we can say if, length of args equals 0, then there's lots of ways you could do this. I mean, we could make a default variable. We could actually append to it if we wanted to. It's probably better to put a name in here. So let's do that. Let's say name equals there. So we'll initialize a variable, and we'll say if the length of args is greater than 0, then we'll overwrite it. And this is pretty idiomatic Go to set default values like this. And then this down here is going to become the name. Right? So now we're going to do if the length of args is greater than 0, then name equals, and we're using equals instead of colon equals because we already assigned it above. So then we can say name equals whatever the first argument was, which is 0. Now it won't panic. Now I have to go reset my terminal now, but now we get a pass because everything's working. And, I'll put this down here again. I like to put a little bit of space in my programs to make it readable. You can decide on your own how you want to do that. And as you can see, it's passing in the arguments that were passed in to it. And actually, this is going to be a problem that we're not going to be able to see without actually trying to run the command. Right now, our program is passing because we're only testing the function itself. We're not testing the function being called from main because we realized that was a false, right? By the way, watch what happens if I try this one. If I try to restore this, then watch. It'll try to run it and it will fail. You see this? Look, right? So it's not working from the test case because the test case is compiling a binary and giving us the thing is definitely off, right? So we know that that's not going to work. But there's another way we can test this, and this is one of the things that's annoying about testing, is there are some things, believe it or not, that you can't test unless you actually run the code. You can't. No amount of test suiting can put it in there, and this is one of those times. And so the only way to test this is to do go run dot from here. And we see that, oh my gosh, it's still doing the wrong thing here, right? All right, well, let's not even do that. Let's do And this compiled it and everything for us. You see how it compiled it? Let's do an install. So go install, which is going to put it, now you can see where it is. You can see it's in my bin, and I run hi, and it runs hi. What? What just happened? You should know what just happened because we covered this last week and we covered this when we were doing bash. What is the first argument? Always. What is always the first argument? And every planet, every operating system, the first argument passed to any executable is always the path to the executable. Always. So we actually don't want that. I know our function passed, but it's still got a pretty serious bug because right now it's passing all the args, right? But we don't want all the args. We just want the arg. We want to chop the first arg off. And this is where you get to learn a little bit about slices. So we're going to put slicing a slice. And you can't slice arrays as easily. That's not completely true. You can't. Anyway, we'll stick with this one. So slicing a slice. So now we want to say, I want all this stuff except for the first one, right? So then we can say 0 colon, and that should fix it. I don't know, we have to build it again. You'll see me do this all the time. I'll put the program right after it like that because, it's still wrong. I think we want 1 there, right? So 1, index 1. And now we get hi there. Yeah, thank you. So now we get hi there. But now I can also do this. I can do hi Rob. And I can do hi Doris. And I can do hi Doris, Sam the dog. And it'll still do Sam. Because why? Because it's only grabbing the first one. If I put these in double quotes, it becomes a single argument. And therefore I can say hi Sam the dog. And we covered all of that when we did Linux and Bash. I don't want to do the argument thing again. But it's really important in these first few challenges. We're about done now. It's really important in these first few challenges of Go that you understand why Go is so good as a utility language from the command line and how to write Go programs that use the same advantages of Bash and other things like that. And that means kind of jumping into passing arguments and standard input, standard output, standard error. These are all core concepts to Linux command line usage, and that's why I put them first. I mean, a lot of other people might jump right into Go doing REST API development or something like that. And this entire boost has been focused on command line interaction and that kind of thing with, layering on those other things later. So that's why we spent so much time going into this dealing with arguments and stuff. Now, are there libraries to deal with all of this for you? Absolutely, but I don't want to go there yet because I want you to understand the basics of what's going on before we cover all of that over with magic that you don't understand. So again, we chopped off that thing, and now we are fulfilling our test here, and we can leave the example main there as a warning sign, like don't try to do a test here because it'll be the compiled name and all that. And that's about it. So let's go ahead and save this. We'll go back here, and we can do git status, git add -a dot git commit -m, and you could do that interactively or like this if you want. We say add hi solution, or add solution for hi whatever, and then git push, and you can compare your own notes and clean it up and do your own however you want. Get the status, and I think we're ready. I think that's going to do it for today. So does anybody have any questions? I mean, if you have questions, of course, I just want to say, even if I'm not available here, you can always come into the QCA every day on the weekends and you can ask your tech questions. There is an entire section dedicated to boost questions inside of our Discord. And I'm going to go ahead and eat some of this steak that I can smell wafting through the air. My wife just made these amazing steaks and I can smell them right now and I'm very hungry. And so I'm going to go ahead and take off, and we'll be back for the boost next week. Tonight, if and when I come back, I'm going to be messing with my computer rig over here and coding, maybe a little drinking, and maybe coding some etcd stuff to get ready for our big Kubernetes etcd migration tomorrow, which I'm going to want to be able to follow closely. So that's what I have that's coming. I'm super happy to have had new people join us, so thank you for being here. And all the rest. I don't have to tell you about this. Spread the word, pass, like, and subscribe. If you do want to support the channel, though, following me on GitHub and doing GitHub donations is probably the best for both of us, because you get the credit, and I get a higher percentage than any other source. So, the subs and stuff are nice too, but the GitHub sponsorships look really, really good on your profile and mine. So those are my preferred way to do that. But any other thing that you want to do is great. Thank you, and take care.